Not expecting that in pre-production.
I'm excited for tonight to be back in the fan club. Hey Dylan. Hey Rakarsha. I was like extra excited today because it's been a while. I feel like I haven't been on here in like weeks.
3, actually.
3 weeks? Wow.
Yeah. Wow, it has been 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
Things got busy, but I feel really excited to be back. I love being in the fan club. I love being with my crew. The rest of the crew will be here. Shout out to Justin and Ciendo. Oh, there he is.
He
Hey, Justin.
blinked.
So
Funny.
yeah, I'm hyped. It is. You know what? You can call me Dylan. You can call me Alicia Monet tonight. That's yeah. I was thinking more like no, that's a better example because I was gonna say somebody else, but I love that. I'm like post Detroit. I'm like high key delirious because we have been ripping and running. It has been the longest yet most fulfilling weekend probably in a very very long time. We are coming from Detroit for SummerSlam. It was Brian H. Waters' birthday. Shout out to all the Leos in the building. I see Keith in the comments. Hey bro, hey bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get
What's up, bro?
you on a stream soon. Shout out to Andre. I'm definitely gonna be sending you that shirt that I talked about, and I cannot wait to get a little bit into SummerSlam tonight, Dylan. It was fire. We were there. It was Detroit was a movie, I must say, but
That place different.
it's different. It's different. Another random city that wrestling brought me to. So I can't wait to share our
Yeah.
experiences. But you're going to get the Detroit tea tomorrow night for Thirsty Thursday. Our August edition is a Leo celebration. It is a SummerSlam recap. It is a Detroit recap. So if you want all the tea, I know you've seen all our socials. You want to know what happened. We want to share all of it with you guys. Tune in tomorrow. Pour your drink. It's going to be a really really good time. But I'm so happy to be back here with you guys and talk about the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and a little bit of his SummerSlam moment, and a lot of we'll talk about the press conference because I think Cody Rhodes is probably one of the best in those environments. He's so charming and he knows how to sell a story and he knows the business
He
and
just can't
he
finish it.
is
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. I
So
just
you're saying
couldn't.
he's not a good finisher.
I just couldn't help myself.
Oh, I
Dream
cannot
deferred.
wait to get into this. So his documentary just dropped. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some unpopular opinions. But in the meantime, just some of what's going on in the TWG universe. So everybody knows it's Mania, Jobber Slam, and then TWG anniversary, and now it's gearing up. It's that season, so make sure you watch all our platforms. We're going to start planning our 5th anniversary. I'm so glad Krista came in the comments because I was going to say the one thing that was missing, and I kept saying it all weekend, was I miss Krista B. So we are definitely, she has so much in the works for our 5th anniversary. I cannot wait to celebrate and just share more details with you guys. And of course, you can catch Krista B, Christina, and Ciendo, and maybe some special guests tomorrow night with your drinks, and we will talk all about it. And yeah, well, we'll get all into that. So, if speaking of Krista B, schooling, our Patreon exclusive show now is available on YouTube. So, if you missed Krista B's collaboration with Pablo the Don, one of TikTok's biggest influencers, they talk about pop culture and wrestling, and they school Krista, and they talk about women's wrestling and wrestlers that we should know in the space. It's a really good show. Make sure you check it out. There's a couple coming out in the next couple weeks. I always love a good collaboration, anything that educates people on women wrestling and wrestlers that we should all know about because there's a lot of them out there. I mentioned Jobber Slam. The indies are on fire right now. I think you
Mhm.
guys can all agree. I just got to shout out Bougie and Shayla. Congratulations. You have a Bougie shirt.
You know it. Brand
Storyline
new.
tees.
He needs a
Definitely
new
check
one
them
that
out.
says he the pappy.
I
And,
gotta
and
get him a
look,
Dad 316 shirt. The King of New
Bougie
York.
babies.
He got a Prince. He got a Prince now. So congrats to them. He has
y'all
a
buy those
bunch.
shirts. Support that
Yes.
baby. Support that man so he can support his baby.
Right.
Man, formula and Pampers are not easy.
Ain't
My best
cheap.
friend had a baby last year. She's about to turn 1 in September, and
Oh,
bruh, we finding out firsthand like, oh man, this shit ain't cheap.
Nope.
not at all. But he's so excited. And he has so much going on. He's in so many different storylines, so many different factions. So make sure you just stay tuned and support the indies where you can. Me and Sienna are going to try to hit a House of Glory show. There's so much going on. So just follow us. You know the deal. We have a lot. Siendo is coming, Vaughn. I'm glad that the crew. The crew. We got a lot of family.
She's taking the same flight that Dakota Kai took to get to Detroit, where Spirit was acting up. If you've watched Dakota Kai's so it went viral like today, where like she was on Twitch talking about it, where it's like she barely made it just in time for that moment, because like
Yeah.
Spirit was being Spirit, which is why Spirit is the ghetto.
It's the ghetto, but it's like when it's necessary, it's necessary.
And in this case, it was necessary because she got the call at 1 o'clock, like, yo, get your ass to Detroit. So I don't know how she
Yeah.
made it there in time for that match, but thank God that match went
A
on
woman do
as
what
a
a woman
co-main.
gotta do. We know that.
Right? Right? No, I want to get into that match as well. But yeah, check us out. We'll take a little break and then we'll get into Cody Rhodes. And when Siendo's here, we'll get into the scoreboard because it was a PLE and there were some matches, some women's matches that we'll definitely be getting into. And then I want to talk about the American Nightmare, Mr. Cody Rhodes. Probably the most
Oh.
over baby face in the company right now, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah. And I
Maybe wrestler.
still, right. And I still believe that he should have lost that Mania, and I think SummerSlam really proved that. So we'll get into all the tea.
Well,
So
let's
let's
go
take a
back
quick.
to
Hmm?
I was gonna say somebody who was once a former baby face, who was one of the most over baby faces.
That's true.
She could have definitely been, still making residuals off the magazines or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, when one door closes for one, come on.
I mean,
Come
that
on.
ended up being one of the highest selling Playboy issues at that time.
Because China took
And
over.
yeah. And the interesting part is you don't have to know wrestling to find Sable attractive, to be walking in a supermarket and this is on, you're going to pick it up. You're going to look at it. But yeah, once this happened, she became not just a star in wrestling, she became a star in pop culture. And her checks reflected it, her TV time reflected it, and a lot of women, including Sunny, were not happy with that at all, especially because you're coming into wrestling and you're not a wrestler. I love our Sable episode.
Oh, that was really
I
good.
do.
Like I've been
And
waiting for that one for a minute.
same. Shout out to Krista B again because she definitely pushed us to do that, and then ended up being one of our more popular episodes because it's who's gonna do a spotlight on Sable, and it's wait, we are. I wouldn't say icon, but she's definitely big in wrestling history in the Attitude Era. So Seindole is here. The rest of the crew. Hi, beautiful.
Hi. Sorry, we were experiencing some visual difficulties over here.
Wow, she
So,
just upgraded. Like
yeah,
she
man.
Oh,
in
I was going through some
8K.
visual
Live
I was
in
going through some
35
visual difficulties
I
millimeter.
too,
love that
but
for
Live in,
you.
live in 35 millimeter today, y'all. Y'all getting 35 millimeters.
Let's see.
Where's what's his name?
Oh, he's on sabbatical because our tribal chief As you can see,
Oh.
we are acknowledging the tribal chief tonight after
Mhm.
SummerSlam. Even though there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, we decided to acknowledge tribal chief. So Punk is back there in Collide Land. That's all. He's in Collision Land, running things
With
over
his X
there.
belt.
Yeah, with his ex belt, he running things over there. He can take a break. He peeking behind the TV, you could see him, but he had to
I
step
see
down
him
to the tribal chief.
peeking.
Yeah,
So
he
you're
salutes
saying
the
that
tribal
you
chief
future endeavored Punk from your
for a little bit because
visuals?
he's as Mr. McMahon said, he's on a sabbatical. Okay, let's be
Okay.
politically correct here. So he's on a sabbatical, but for now, you have the tribal chief with his first belt here tonight. So we should all acknowledge the tribal chief. He's just gonna
Always,
sit right here. He's
always.
just gonna sit
We
right there
eating
for the
good.
night.
I've been telling y'all we eating steak.
We in the third inning. That's what Paul Heyman
Mhm.
said.
Bottom of
Bottom
the
of the
third.
third.
Bottom of the third. Bottom of the third. Shout out to the bloodline. Shout out to Roman, my tribal chief.
There you go.
You know,
There you go.
we will get into the betrayal, and that's all I'm
Mm.
gonna say about that right now. We'll do it when I've had a couple drinks tomorrow night, and we'll get all up into that.
Thirsty, thirsty.
You know. So, are you good to start with your scorecard?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Because
I
I'm
decided to
curious.
surprise everybody today.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
didn't
she,
submit
even me.
anything. Yeah, even the producer. I know production is gonna be yelling at me later, but
Da-da-dum.
as you guys all know, can I get some back? I don't think I get any background music, but
I thought you had I thought you had a theme song.
I think we were using Jade Cargill's for a while, and then we switched things. There we go. As
Yeah,
you
because
guys
Jade not
already
using it
know,
right now.
Jade ain't
so.
gonna use that
yeah,
anymore.
Jade's taking a break. I'm taking over. Anyway, as you guys already know, the ratings are based on the following: match longevity, chemistry, wrestling ability, and storyline build-up. So I'm going to start with the match that I think, if you're anything like me, was confusing at first, but meant something in the end, and that is the continuation of the storyline between old friends turned bitter rivals, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Now, I think, and shout out to Sir Wilkins who did interview Shayna Baszler this past week and before SummerSlam started. I think he even tried to figure out what the heck was a MMA rules match. Now, granted, the rules were a little confusing, but as you saw, if you guys watched SummerSlam, the ref went over it like a typical MMA fight. He went over the rules. He went over this is in the WWE match. This is wrestling. You know, it's basically MMA rules, but in a squared circle, but not an octagon. Now, I get what they were trying to do, but I don't think the people got what they were trying to do. So before I drop my rating, does anybody understand what was going on?
I'm gonna say this. I don't remember, and ladies, help me if I'm wrong. I do not remember a graphic or anything flashing for the live audience to really help us understand the whole MMA rules of it all. Did
Yeah,
I miss
because
something?
no, they were supposed to be. So if it's MMA rules, I guess they were just talking about like the hitting and the striking and the grappling, and not so much of like how many rounds, what's the time, blah blah blah. I think that's where the translation got like lost. So for that reason, I gave it a 3.4.
That's
So
generous.
I know,
Yeah.
y'all know me. I've done worse, but seeing as they were trying to, and again, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to tell a story the way that Shayna and Ronda would tell it if they were fighting in UFC. However, y'all should have did that in UFC. If this storyline, mind you, this storyline was set up the way that, you know, most storylines are set up. Like we've seen betrayals before. We've seen Shawn Michaels, you know, turn on Marty Jannetty. Shout out to that Dark Side of Ring episode. We've seen, you know, we got another betrayal later on that night. We got a brother turning against a brother. We had a SummerSlam where Nikki turned against her own sister and ruined her "This Is Me" moment. We've had friends turn enemies before, but that's always been explained properly. And it's always been like, hey, if we're gonna have like a weapons only match, these are the criteria of the weapons only. We've always had like a hey, this is a backstage, this is like a brawl for all. they explained the brawl for all. But that's what it lacked. It lacked the explanation needed to those who not only don't watch MMA, but only also to those who wanted to kind of see this rivalry turn the way it did. Like, I mean, it's been years. We've noticed that Shayna Baszler is kind of not the girl to mess with. Like, she's the woman to beat at Ronda Rousey at her own game. And I just think they lacklustered it a little bit. I don't know whether it was because they wanted to give it more cinema, which they did with, them cutting promos evenly. But I think that's where they messed up. Like, they could have given us that cinema and then given us a wrestling match. Does anybody get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a
For sure.
3.4 because the storyline was told properly. Shayna and Ronda kind of gave me more cinema than Brock and Cody did. No shade, no tea to them, but yeah, I'm being generous.
Yeah, and I think because I was curious of your scoreboard today because you were there live, and I'm like, is this your first scoreboard of like a PLE that you experienced live and then rewatching on TV? Because both are different experiences. And one thing that was unfortunate for them is I literally, mind you, we were in the press box and not even in the crowd, and I still felt the crowd like deflate. Like it was really like, because and I hate to say these words, but if you're gonna do a real fight at SummerSlam, like you have to build it up. You have to do something to make it a little bit more sought after. You already have Ronda Rousey, who's already like sort of lackluster to a lot of people. Then you have them go in and just do like, quiet combat. There's no pops, there's no anything. So I feel like the crowd didn't really know how to react to it. And I think it definitely should have had a better build up.
Yeah, I think I mean, and I'm going to be fully transparent here. I'm very much into UFC as well. I am a avid UFC fighter, watcher. I am a huge fan of the Ultimate Fighter. Everybody who knows me knows I used to commentate on that before I commented on wrestling, and I just think there could have been more. There could have been a bigger presence. They could have gotten the actual UFC ref instead of like this comment says, they could have gotten a ref like from UFC, somebody well known. I mean, they've had special refs in the past. This wouldn't have been any different. They could have had even, a friend ringside here or there. Like it was missing something. And then I get home and I watch it. And I'm like, okay, we in the audience could not hear the ref explain the rules. The people at home gonna be able to get it, but the crowd deflated because they like, what are we watching? What are the rules? How do we know that Ronda lost? How do we know what's legal? How do we know it's not? We always know by a wrestling match somebody's gonna lose by a pinfall, a submission, even when there's no commentary around. I should be able to understand what's going on without having Michael Cole explain to me what Ronda and Shayna are doing. So that's where the rating for the 3.4, because when you watch it at home, you're like, makes sense. But if we want to do this again in front of 50,000 people in an arena, like, not for nothing, have, let's get ready to rumble, have a ring girl out with number, do something. But it dropped. The ball was really dropped on this one.
I mean, you could just do something simple. You did it for the men, do it for the ladies. Put it in the fight pit. Put it in the Lions Den. It'd have been those same grappling moves, because you would have used the leverage of the cage and everything. And like Owen Hart and I'm looking right now, Ken Shamrock. I wrote about this on the Ringer. Their match wasn't that long. It wasn't even 10 minutes, but you still
it was like forever.
It felt like forever.
It had a great
not
build
in a good way.
It had a great build up, but it made sense. And this right here, I thought like the build up was incredible as far as the stories, as far as like you said, that cinema going into it, only for it to let us down. And I felt bad for them because they definitely deserve better. I'm not even gonna credit, I'm not gonna say it was their fault. Personally, I think it was just the production of it.
Yeah.
But I also get why this wasn't in a fight pit or like a cage match, because like when people were throwing that out there, like, why does this have a stipulation? Why are we getting a fight pit? I think back to WrestleMania 38 when Drew McIntyre was facing Happy Corbin and he used his sword to cut the ropes, and it took that crew forever and a day to put those ropes back together, and they were struggling for the rest of that show. I believe that was night 1 to put those ropes back together because sometimes things like that is complicated, and we're looking at home like, yo, look, why is this not in a fight pit? Why is he not getting this? But then you got to think of the people who got to put that fight pit together, place it in there, have it perfect. That way, Ron and Shayna can go in there. Remember, this card was in the middle of the card. This didn't open the show. This didn't close the show. So you also got to deconstruct that fight pit or cage and whatever. That way, the triple threat still has the time that they do, and they don't get time cut. The main event doesn't get time cut from their stuff. So you gotta think of the crew where it's like maybe that's just way too complicated to do it like that immediately then and there because we don't really think about the people that gotta put that Hell in a Cell together like at a WrestleMania or deconstruct the Hell in a Cell at a WrestleMania. And I think they were just like the logistics is way too much, and that's
so real quick,
too much time. And
let's take them inside the arena real quick. I understand exactly what you're saying, Justin, because you're not wrong, but the way the arena was, there was a whole section behind the hard cam. They could have did the Lions Den or something. You know what I mean? Just like they did. Now, granted, it's the Garden 98. They had it in a whole different it wasn't like an arena, but it was like an extension of the theater for the Lions Den match. They could have done something like that. Because they did Lions Den matches before and they just put it in different
and the
sides.
Garden, the theater is underneath Madison Square Garden.
Okay, so so in Ford Field,
it's basically 2 arenas.
The same way they did.
Right.
If you remember when you watched the Royal Rumble and when Uncle Howdy did the jump, and you know how and P can remember like it was off to the left, but it was behind the hard cam, so it was enough space for it. They obviously hindsight being 2020, but they would have built it there. I just think it could have done these 2 ladies much justice, especially if this was Ronda's last match, which is the rumor.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can we get clarification on that? Because sometimes I don't know what is wrestling Twitter.
Well, they're playing it. They're playing it to be like the way she put her caption and stuff. This was like the match that's taken her out of wrestling, which, like I said, I'm with P. Like the clarification on that is blurry because we've seen that before, and then all of a sudden, boom, Ronda pops up. But then remember, Ronda's contract is done. And we don't know whether she's signed an extension. We don't know whether she's back. We don't know if she's sitting back there and taking a hiatus. Like, we don't know what she's doing, but the cinema, which is why the storyline build was so good, was that this match was supposed to be Shonda putting Ronda down and putting Ronda away. That's why I think the frustration lies for me in this match, because this was like, again, like, y'all lost me in the sense of how to do this. This could have been done better. And I understand what Justin is saying fully. Like, I've seen cages being put up for UFC matches. Them shits are not easy to put up. They take forever. You have to make sure that they're tied a certain way so that if the fighters crash into the bottom bare, they don't break the cage over and spill over into the back, which would have been cool for effects. I get it. But
I would have been happy it been just a cage match.
That and that's what my point is. Like, the stipulation, the stipulation could have been better. The detailing could have been better. They could have added more lustrous. It was just not what a lot of people, I think, were expecting. Like, they should have just let them wrestle, to be quite honest, because both of them, like, if they're going to talk about, like, oh, when I came in, I did this, and when I came in, I did that, put your money where your mouth is. Let's see who became the better wrestler outside of UFC. And I get they wanted to go back to the original roots, but that's something they could have did in UFC. Like, they could have did that one last thing.
Keep that over there.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I hate to say it because I always like to be that person where, like, maybe it came up better on TV, and it's just like it did not. And I think Shayna, I just want more for Shayna, if anything, because I'm just like, that's supposed to be her catapult. We just seen the dark side with Marty. Like, certain matches are supposed to be then you're like jumping off point, and Shayna could have had a better one. Because I was very excited for this feud. And if that's how it ends after all of that and that awesome video package, so for it to be blown off with like this, like, dud of a match that nobody really understood, that didn't have any real build up, I would want better for them. How do you rate the other one?
Well, damn. Yeah.
'Cause I enjoyed it a lot.
We started from beginning to end. We enjoyed it live. Um, but I'm tight. So taking my personal how I feel about the performance of all three ladies, we're giving it a 4.7.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Almost a perfect score.
Yeah, we're giving it 4.7 because this is the type of, like, not for nothing. This match was the match that I hoped it would have been, like, and this was the only match that I thought I didn't know who was going to win, because remember, for a moment you had Charlotte dominating both ladies. You had Asuka out for a long time, but Asuka could be sneaky, so she was
Mhm.
out for some moment in time, and then she was back in. And then Bianca had looked to injure her knee, and she was almost out, but then she got back in there, delivered that amazing high top rope, that flip. And then you had, Charlotte again holding her own, being the queen that she is, being the dominant force that she is in the match. But then you have Asuka again sneaking in, doing the miss, and then you have Bianca taking advantage of the opportunity like she always does, and winning until the cash in happened. And it gave it the 4.7 because it is the perfect ode. Because I remember I watched it over at home, and then I watched Nashville, and I'm like, yo, we're a year. They are still getting on Bianca's nerves. This is the best form of storyline telling, long-term booking that the women's division has
Mm.
had in a long time. Like, think about that. Io Shirai
What's that?
surprised us all in Nashville a year ago.
Yep.
Bailey still coming out like, all right, I couldn't get you down, so now I'm gonna bring people to get you down. And what happens a year later? She gets somebody to bring her down. I don't think, and in my mind, I want to say they would have not cashed in if it was anybody else. But in honesty, I don't think they would have cashed in if it was anybody else. I think they're so, like, Bailey thinks that it's to rule the women's division. No, I think it's just to get back at Bianca for literally dethroning her as one of the best women's wrestlers in the WWE. And I think that's where the storyline is going. I pray that's where it's going, because even when me, you, Brian, were all at the press conference, you seen the confidence on Bailey's face. That wasn't the confidence of, I'm proud of my friend. This is the confidence of, okay, now I got one up on the person that drags me out. And nobody got the chance to ask the question because some people got to
So
ask the
that's so I
question.
was gonna ask
Yeah, I think we
Io if she was gonna give Bailey, or no, not
Mhm.
Dakota, Bailey, a shot at the title, because I honestly just wanted to just like engage in Bailey being Bailey. But
Yeah.
I really want to know, because it's a lot of friction that's been happening. And
People forgot
Bailey
that.
definitely says "we" a lot when she was talking about the briefcase. So I mean, I liked the cash in just because I just love everyone that was involved, and I didn't expect it at all. And the match just gave spots that I had never saw before. And you think you see a triple threat match, you've seen it all, but like I was like, oh, they really killing this.
They really killed it. Like, all three ladies, and like, you can understand what was going on without Michael Cole screaming at the top of his lungs. So I always could appreciate that. But like, at the same time, you have the fact that Io is a new champion. Love that for her. Dakota Kai. The story of how Dakota Kai got there in the first place
Yeah,
is crazy
we
by
was
itself,
just talking
because
about that earlier.
yeah, like, how do you get a phone call at 1 and end up in Nashville by 8:30? Like,
Detroit.
making and we were downtown Detroit. Downtown Detroit ain't close to the airport at all. That's a 30 40 minute drive. So I want to know, like, they had to have known. And I think for all three of them to be there to the beginning when it started, but I'm like itching. I'm waiting for that backstab to happen, because people think Bailey forgot that homegirl handcuffed her to the ladder to get that briefcase in the first place.
Mhm.
That
But I'm an
part.
elephant. I don't forget. Like, Bailey is at where she wants to be, as far as, all right, I got under Bianca's skin, but I'm waiting for Bianca to hit her with the, you think you got on top of me? No, your girls have an advantage of me, but you still can't beat me. And I'm waiting for Bailey to rear her selfish, ugly head, and I'm waiting for it to all come around. So
It's giving this.
It is. It's
Yeah,
giving.
and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I know you love
It is.
Evolution, Brian. That's why you brought that up. Like,
Wow.
yeah, that was a good reference.
hmm
Yeah.
Man, wow. See, this is I ain't even think of the whole 1 year ago. Who else better to cash in on? Because like I ain't gonna lie, I just like, all right, Asuka's probably gonna win. I felt like Asuka was gonna win, right? But I did feel like a cash in would happen. And if it was gonna happen, I just felt at first like when Bianca, I was like so hyped, but then I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this moment. I'm gonna live in kayfabe because I know it's coming. I didn't want to admit that I knew it was coming, but especially with the leg hurting and all that, she was weak. But at first, I was like, well, why win if she was going to lose anyway? But then it's like, it makes sense. Let her rack up those title reign numbers.
That's how Charlotte got them.
That's how Charlotte.
Cash
And
in.
Remember, Charlotte been cashing on twice.
that's the thing P kept saying, like,
Three
not
times.
Charlotte again. So
Yeah.
it made sense. It was a beautiful moment. It's nothing like.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But
What just
Rhea
happened?
Ripley just got engaged to not but
Buddy put a ring on it.
he was like, let me lock this down
He
right
said,
now.
like, I ain't
Buddy
no
said, I'm
chokehold,
tired of his
bitch.
fucking jokes. I'm gonna knock you out, Caster. But Rhea, when you get home, I'm putting a ring on this immediately.
He said, I ain't no chokehold, bitch. That's mine.
Yo.
That's what he said.
Oh Lord. What's
There's
so
only
funny
one
is
Poppy, and
think?
that's
Everyone in the
me.
fan club, put your congratulations in the comments. Rhea Ripley is now engaged.
Look at
we
that.
need a breaking news thing.
Look at
The
that.
thing is, like, if y'all remember when this storyline first started, Dom announced his engagement.
Facts.
forgot
And
Dom
I was
Niggas
kind of
was
mad. Actually, my
engaged.
sister, shout out to Letty, was like, I wish she would have kept that off social because of kayfabe, and I respect it, but I'm happy for them.
Yeah, so, yeah. Oh man, he really about to get more jokes now. That's the thing. Like, y'all leave Buddy Murphy alone. His wife up here, his fiance now throwing up, nice
Listen,
pictures, and then he's saying, "Dang, I'm trying to use the internet, you breaking it," and then people trolling him. I'm like, he just trying to show his lady some love. It's a bunch of y'all clowns out there that's got beautiful women, and then y'all want to be dope post them or got mean mugging like this in the picture. Buddy trying to show some love, and y'all want to clown that man. Y'all want to be sitting up there replying to him in his
the
DMs.
way that man drop kick Matt Caster live.
That you would think people leave him alone.
That's life.
Stand by your man.
Yeah.
Ain't no one is
his
infinite
name
jokes.
Buddy Murphy. What's his name?
Moved criminals out of the ring and sweet chin music, Matt Caster right in front of my eyes. I said, you know what? All respect. I will never make that joke in front of you.
Did you record? You had the clip, right?
Buddy Matthews.
I recorded it.
Oh,
yeah.
I recorded it. Like,
would you record the rap, or was you recording because it was
the
rapping?
rap, and then all you saw was Buddy Murphy literally his left leg literally go cow. Like, like something out of Tekken, like something out of Tekken, like finish him, like that was it. So stand by your man, Ripley. That's a good man.
He's saying that he hit him with that Ryu and Ken. Oh, you'll get
just like that, just like that.
Damn, there's gonna be a lot of haters.
But back to, because you have to think of the scenario. You ain't gonna cash on Rhea because Rhea's Rhea. She that bitch. You got fuck around making your nose bleed with that briefcase getting kicked back at you, trying to freaking cash in on her. Asuka don't make no sense yet because there's no build towards that. Charlotte done went through it way too many times. They ain't gonna do it to her. But Bianca has a history. Bianca always, every time she's trying to have a SummerSlam moment, they ruined it then and they'll ruin it again. Which is why when I saw her leg and then the music was on, you see me celebrating. The minute I heard EO's music, I said, shit, I knew it was gonna happen. Like P and Brian saw me sat down. I was not happy at first.
We both was. I just stood there.
I was excited.
She excited. She happy to see the cash in.
Down.
Yeah, no, I'm just standing there like.
I
think I heard
because
Sir
I called this to a T.
behind me yelling.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, shout out to Tavia's daughter, because Tavia's daughter was pissed. She was like, "No, what the hell? What is going on?" Like everybody was like around us. It was either dead silence or people were pissed. But
was
then you
so.
had some people that were cheering her. So
I mean, you gonna get the money
I
in the
was one of
bank
those that
cash
was celebrating because I was like, bro, think of it. Like Asuka always felt like a transitional champion. The minute she took that from Bianca, Charlotte, even though Charlotte had the undefeated streak at SummerSlam, triple threats are made for you take a L, but you don't get pinned or submitted. And because Charlotte had been pinned 3 times, she's been cashing in 3 times. It was like either we're gonna get number 4 or she's not gonna be the person that's gonna do it. And Bianca, they've been hinting at Bianca not being like 100% like going in with confidence to really get this belt.
right.
Everything smelled cash in. Not to mention, Io pulled up on Rhea one time. Rhea said, "You better think twice." And then Io was like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stay on SmackDown and start fucking with Asuka." So Io's been hinting at I'm cashing in on Asuka at some point. So it was just
Yeah.
screamed. It don't matter who influenced this fucking match. Io's cashing in and getting his
Yeah.
title. On
And
top
then
of whoever's cashed in, they're perfect. They have yet to have an unsuccessful cash in. So it's like not only is Io cashing in, she's winning this.
yeah.
So I was like, I give me my money because I called this to a T. I just didn't
Which
call
I've known
Bianca
they've
winning it,
been
but I was
the
like, eh.
they've bent the rules a little bit because I thought the opponent was supposed to be on their feet before they start the cash in match, and Bianca was just laying there. But that's here nor
You're
there.
supposed to know that because that
They've
rule
been
I
loosey
know it.
changes
goosey
I
with those
remember it
every
rules.
time.
because
Because it
remember
Let's
used
not let's
When John Cena got cashed in, what did they do? They waited till John Cena was on his feet.
Mhm. But it didn't happen
they,
with Big Show. Daniel
yeah.
That's
Bryan
true.
cashed in. Big
That's
Show
true.
was flat on his back after
That's
the
true.
chairs match. So it's one of those things that we not supposed to know. It's no continuity in it for sure.
Even then, like sometimes they take a while
With the
before they
Miz
like
too.
acknowledge the cash in. Like I think of when Carmella cashed in and Kyoto took like a fucking hour and a half to be like, so you really want to cash in? Okay. An hour and a half later, okay, now we're gonna have her cash
She
in.
was like,
Carmella's like,
she was
I'm about
like,
to lose my
she was like,
voice. I'm about to fight you right now if you don't fucking take this briefcase.
Mhm.
she was like, he was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah,
She's
take
like,
the fucking briefcase.
That's the fun of it. The tease, like it's like, are you serious? And then you feel like the ref is moving too slow. You're like, yo,
Mike Kyoto was like,
his
you want me to do
money.
what? Cash in right
Kyoto, I
now?
will moonwalk
Here?
on your grave. Cash this fucking briefcase in.
I can't wait for Friday night. I need to
Mhm.
see Io. I mean, I wasn't seeing her as champion before she won the briefcase. So I'm excited that she had this opportunity. And kayfabe aside, just seeing Bailey support Damage Control the whole year, thing, very poetic. That's the shit that wrestling is made for. The those moments. So I'm proud of Io. I can't wait to see her walk into SmackDown with that beautiful championship belt. I think I needed to see it on someone. And once I saw Io holding it, once I saw Bianca holding it with that black and yellow and her blonde braid, which was new and
Black and
different,
yellow, black and
I
yellow.
was like, okay, I love this. I high key want this belt, but she only held it for like what, less than a minute,
Not
15
even.
seconds. I was like,
Had
They
the
okay,
didn't. They
longest
didn't
and
even get to
shortest
the first
reign.
stanza of her song before they're like, ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding.
She's had the longest and
yo,
the shortest reign with the belt.
I'm here for it. Let's put Bianca Belair in all over the history books.
Word.
I'm
Mhm.
not gonna
Now
argue
she
with
needs all
that.
three. Now she just needs to take it off for Rhea.
Yep.
And
And
she'll
then
be the
let's,
first with all three. With the
or
Raw,
like
the
who's she gonna win
SmackDown.
the tag team championship with? Like we know she's gonna be a Grand Slam champion at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
I was excited for everyone around. I think those three women put on a banger, and the cash in was different and it was poetic. And I agree with your scoreboard, and it was a pleasure watching it with you and the crowd
I
in Motor
know.
City.
It was too much
Um,
fun. It was fun singing Cody Rhodes' half the theme song. It was fun, hearing people cheer on LA Knight, which I'm gonna say
he's so over.
he's so
Mhm.
over. Like we
It's
were in
insane.
line for the superstore and people were like drunk trolleying in front of us and I guess they were annoying the fans and the fans were just like like they were annoying back at the drunk people on their trolleys. So that's like that's the spirit you want. I'm glad he said what he said in his press conference. He was like, listen, whether the people were behind me or not, I knew it was going to eventually behind it because I'm confident. I know I work. I know what I'm out here to do. I know I'm the best. I'm here to
Yep.
prove it, and people just see it now. So I think everybody. I think we found our man of the. I think we found our SummerSlam always has the man of the year, and I feel like it's always somebody that you don't expect to be. I think LA Knight is that guy. Like I think I just the way he was over, like
And I don't
it
think
was
anyone
needed.
expected that. Like,
And
I don't
then
think anyone in the back expected that.
And then like Miz getting the theme song. All right, it's the Miz. The Miz is gonna walk out. Omos getting one. Everybody loves him some Omos. And AJ Styles has always been the attraction. He's the high fly attraction of all the Battle Royals. But the reaction for LA Knight to come out at that Battle Royal, like people were waiting for him to go LA Knight, yeah, like they were waiting for it. So like you haven't seen a theme song. Remember when people first started doing the cheers after that WrestleMania and it slowly started to build and people were just like letting it ride. And so he became champion. Like that type of reaction, he's gonna go very far. I mean, listen, I'm not a nice
Absolutely.
stand a little bit. I was like, yeah,
The man is
like
wearing Tim's in the summer. He's built different.
That's that
different.
Maryland shit,
And
yo.
person wearing Tim's
He's
or
from
Doc
Maryland. He ain't
Martens.
from Baltimore.
I said
She
Maryland.
I'm
said
just
Maryland.
making
Chill
reference.
out,
Yeah.
bro. Chill out, Island Boy. Anyway, anybody wearing Tim's and Doc Martens in unseasonal weather, they
Doc
got my vote. So
Martens.
that shit is hard. I've worn Doc Martens in the summer. I don't know why people do it.
Seasoning.
Maybe they have. Maybe they have it. That boy is seasoned. Okay, in my book, he's seasoned. So shout out to him
Yeah.
and them boots.
Nah. So speaking of SummerSlam, let's get into the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who I talk about. I didn't care for Cody before he came back to WWE last year. I was, kind of like, oh, okay, like he former WWE superstar, Dusty Rhodes' son. He started AEW, he's back. But when I was there, when he made his like surprise debut, because I think we all saw it coming, but that moment was so magical in Dallas that I instantly became a fan. And every week, I just become more and more of a Cody fan for so many different reasons. And since he's come back, we mentioned before he's the biggest babyface in the company. He
Mhm.
faced Roman. He faced Seth Rollins when he came in. He faced Roman Reigns at Mania. A lot of people thought this is when he should have been, crowned champion. I disagree. I think the story is now over, and I think, is going to be one of those stars that has like longevity, like a John Cena, where he's going to be a hero. Which is why he doesn't need to win a championship too soon, because I won't say he doesn't need it, but he has a quest, and I think he enjoys the quest, and I think his fans should enjoy the quest a little bit more. So he's a polarizing figure for a lot of different reasons. So I want to get into, of course, that moment with Brock, his match with Brock, that story essentially being over and what's next for him. But I also want to just get into his career in general. What are some unpopular opinions you have about Cody? I got even more invested. I didn't think it was possible after his documentary that debuted on Peacock, which was really good. And then also them doing the Dusty Rhodes A&E doc, not too long ago. So the timing of these stories being told, the timing of his matches is not accidental. We are on a ride with Cody. We are on an emotional ride with Cody, and it's going to be long. And it's going to be great. And that's why I wish his fans would be a little bit more patient, because this is what it's all about. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I want to know, like, how do you guys feel about Cody? Like, were you guys fans of him when he originally was in WWE? I didn't realize how much of a WWE guy he was. Like, he lived, like, he came back home.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that. And as someone who kind of like checked out of wrestling when he was, around, how did you guys first learn about Cody? Did you guys see the potential he has now? Like, what was your first impression?
Loved me some Dashing Cody Rhodes, honey. When I tell you, there's not a lot of people that could be heels with their mouth. I could have sworn Cody was a Taurus because the things he would say to the fans. He, like one time when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, this is when he was early on. I knew he was going to be that person that was always going to be invested in a character no matter what. Like he was walking around. I think he had his feud with Rey Mysterio had just kicked off,
Mhm.
and he was like, "All you ugly people can't be me. You have to hide behind a mask." And he goes out of his way, slides out of the ring, goes to a fan, and goes, "Look at you. I want to vomit on you." And then he goes to another person, to a woman, and goes, "Have you looked at yourself in the mirror? I can hear you getting fatter." Mind you, this is SmackDown.
Oh
Yes,
my
that's how disrespectful this man was with his mouth. And at first, I'm like, this mother. And then I had to come back down to earth, like, wow, that was good. He got me saying this mother. Like he is really good with his words. So I knew the promo work was there, the athleticism was there, but I felt like every time they gave him a challenge creatively, like him breaking his nose, like that was milked. Like he went from I think I'm dashing, my teeth are perfect, my face is perfect, I have the perfect chisel butt chin, to I'm grotesque, I'm
The
disgusting,
adorable lisp.
my like poor, and mind you that
So he got
was,
Chinnigan Geeks.
have you looked at Cody Rhodes' face? Like he has like the cutest little like
I don't check for his
look at
ass
the dimple.
chin.
No, listen, that's you. Me, I know
What
what I'm
do you
checking
check
for.
for?
I
I'm
be looking. I
just
don't know what you
curious.
look for, but I be looking. Anyway, he like anything they gave him personified, even like Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was gonna end up being Stardust because I knew he wanted it, it was gonna be something down the line because they're gonna make him work with his brother. And you can also tell though, like towards the end of his run, that he hated it. But at the same time, if this was something that was going to be able to work to make him to the next level, you can't take Stardust to the next level. We all know that now. And I think that's why I'm glad they mentioned it in the documentary that they couldn't take Stardust in this because, like, who the hell, like, the Stardust as world heavyweight champion, in what universe was that going to
He
work
wasn't
out?
even winning the U.S. championship.
Oh
But
Yeah.
the thing about Cody, you know, I did not like him in the beginning. I thought DiBiase Jr. was the one, and boy, was I wrong. I will always admit that one. I just thought,
God.
like me and my boy Brandon from high school, not the guy, but another one of my homeboys. We was like, how wrong were we? Because we was saying as soon as like, I mean, you just looked at both of them. Cody was all skinny, he looked bland, and DiBiase just looked like he had it together. And then even
Yeah.
then, he just didn't have the personality. Even when they tried to put Virgil with him again, but I remember Dusty cutting that. No, he shouldn't have. Dylan, stop it! Come on now,
Well,
what
he was low
champion?
key. He was kind of dashing Cody Rhodes when he was incontinental with that feud from Big Show, which Big
Yeah.
Show fucked it up because you found out that he really wasn't supposed to put his foot through that table. He was
Ooh.
supposed to retain that night, and Cody was supposed to move on to something else. Then, when they had the match at WrestleMania and Big Show won, and then the TLC, was it TLC or was it Backlash? It was TLC. Um, no, it
But
was the night the pay per view after that WrestleMania year.
what WrestleMania at 28?
Yeah.
That was Backlash. No, that was Extreme Rules when
And he
Cena
put his
wrestled
foot
Brock.
through that table.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he wasn't supposed to win. Big Show messed up the whole thing.
but you know what I was gonna say about Dash and Cody? Remember, so he wasn't even dashing no more by that time because
Right.
before his dad had a heart to heart conversation with him, and he said,
Hmm.
"While you was out here dashing, Miz is the WWE champion." And
Right,
and
right,
that was
right,
when
right,
he
right,
like
right.
made him
Wait,
go.
not while you was out here
Oh,
dashing.
No,
I gotta show you
remember
that
he did
promo.
speak about it in the interview.
No, that's
Dusty like had a heart to heart
hilarious.
and said, "Now look, son, you could been this, that, and that, but while you out here dashing, Miz is the WWE champion, you know." And he said,
Right.
"You're great, all this, that, and the other." But I don't like I said, I never thought he could be a huge champion. I always felt Cody did exactly what he had to do. He left and then came back. But also, like unpopular opinions, and this may not be that unpopular. The chess thing was the best thing that could have happened to him because
Hmm.
The
he got
broken
thrown
titty.
away. Hmm?
It's
The
not a
broken
broken
titty.
city. Stop it.
He broke his titty. It's
He
his
didn't.
chest
It was
muscle,
hanging
titty
off.
area.
A
It was
torn
hanging off.
That
pectoral.
because I always think I thought like last year I said, okay, we running this, I'm enjoying it, but when are the fans going to turn on them? You know,
Right.
because everybody
Mhm.
knew when that moment, what was it like after Money, like after Hell in a Cell, we all knew Cody was going to win the Royal Rumble, right? And it was just
Hmm.
like, now how can you stretch this from now until the Royal Rumble? I said fans are going to
Right.
turn on him just because fans are fickle, but
Hmm.
he found a way. Well, he got hurt, and then he said he wrote down Royal Rumble, and then we knew we really knew he was going to win the Royal Rumble, but to see them not turn on him when everybody knew he was like, you know, a lot of disappointment that he was number 30. He wins the Royal Rumble and he goes into the story with Roman, I think is incredible. But I just knew I feel like him injuring his chest was the best thing that could happen to him.
Unfortunately, sometimes it be like that in wrestling. Like I hate to use this as an example, but Becky Lynch's face being broken by Nia
Hmm.
Jax. I don't think that's the sole reason for the man or the sole reason for her success. Don't get me started,
Hmm.
but it did hurt. It did hurt her rise.
It
I'll put
didn't.
it that way.
That image,
N-
that image
No,
solidified. Like if there was a thing where she was on the cusp, like could go either way, that image skyrocketed. I was like,
I
okay,
have
now
to
she's
agree
good.
with Brian. I have to agree with Brian. I think it, and God forbid, like if she hadn't broken her nose, nobody would have thought she was tough as nails because she was just Becky was just the accessory. Like it seemed like no matter what she could do, people were high on Sasha, people were high on Beck, people were high on Charlotte, people were even high on Bailey at the time. People were high on Nia. If she hadn't shown like, bitch, I can take it as much as everybody else could, nobody would
Mhm.
have really taken. Because remember, she came on, she was goofy. Like she had the gimmick that like everything about her was goofy, in my opinion. But the minute that homegirl broke her nose, she proved she
Mhm.
could slang and dive with the rest of them. And I think that's what people gravitated where it's more like the way that we respect Cody for going into Hell in a Cell with a torn pec or broken titty, as Justin would call it, is the same way I would respect Becky to say you broke my nose and I'm down, but I ain't out. So I'll see you
Mhm.
later. That's when I started to respect Becky Lynch a lot more. And I think that's why I agree with Brian on the cusp of that pecs it helped them because a lot of people were like, "Damn, you going to do all this and like we can't even see your skin color, bro. Like you doing all that and you still want to be here with us? Now we know you didn't just come back just to be your daddy's son. We know you came back because you love the business. Because even I ended up in a deep dive. I watched every clip of AEW and Cody's run up until he left. And you can see even his
Mm.
evolve matches, you can see that it wasn't Cody was out there not being gimmicky. Cody was out there to perform because aside from all the gimmicks and the stardust and the dashing and the grotesque and all that about Cody Rhodes, this was somebody who wanted to be his father and wrestle. But at the same time, like I can relate to Cody because I have a father. Like my father's a very generous person. Like my father has a type of personality that if you walked into his room and he offers you a beer, he likes everybody until he don't like everybody. He's charming. He's very friendly. And I've been in the place of like, oh, I know your dad. Oh, I know your dad. Oh, I know your dad. Your dad's this. Your dad's this. Your dad's that. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm me. Like I'm still
Mhm.
me. I'm Seindole at the end of the day. So when I'm going to a place like for example, we're in SummerSlam and people are walking up to me and shout out to Stephanie Hayes who's like I've seen your stuff and I love it and it feels good for somebody to point you out and not the accomplishments of what somebody else has done because you're somebody's blood. Imagine how many legacy people like Charlotte Flair. I bet you would be one day in the promo when people are saying woo, she tells y'all to all shut the hell up because there'd be times maybe she's tired of it. There'd be times of maybe
Oh, she's given the crowd the finger before
oh
multiple
yeah,
times.
it'd be times where Roman Reigns is probably laughing at all of you expecting The Rock to come and check him when he's like, The Rock can't come check me. Like I'm
Mhm.
not my cousin. Like let's not get it twisted. It's so many like for example the Usos. The Usos about to have matches with each other. People are waiting for their dad to show up. What the hell is the dad going to do? Any different than what they about to handle it? Be for real. So that
Hey, but I want Rikishi.
a lot of people want Rikishi. You have
We,
not
we
seen
might talk
that
about
Twitter.
that tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Anyway,
Table that.
it gets annoying after a while. So like my understanding of Cody starting AEW is just the simple fact that this is somebody that just wants to be Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Like he wants to have his father's name. He's proud to have a road legacy. But at the same time, you gotta let legacies have a new timeline. It can't be
Right.
the old timeline. Let it have a
But I
new dot
think
in the timeline.
I agree, and I think it's cool too because I feel like neither one of Dusty's sons kind of like just kind of copy and pasted him. Like
Uh,
Goldust had
Fact.
to Goldust. Dustin has to go way extreme to get out of his father's shadow, whether it was his choice or not. Now with Cody, I think like Charlotte Flair, he's found that like that sweet spot between honoring his legacy but also carving his own path. You know, the American Nightmare, you know, honoring Dustin's moveset. But Cody Rhodes has built his own path. And even Triple H said in a documentary, like he had to go out and do something else and come back and realize like you don't want to be a champion at this you know, you want the pinnacle of it.
Right.
So, Cody came back home to do it. So I want to get into some of the tweets that
Uh,
people replied to. And speaking of AEW, we're definitely watching Dynamite tonight as a
it's
family.
the
Um,
Hardys versus the Young Bucks, and I don't.
oh
This,
wow.
It's what?
I would have said like that. That was cute in 2017.
And that's another
The
thing
Hardy Boys
too.
versus the Young Bucks. This is like watching. No offense, but it's like, bro, Matt Hardy, and y'all know I like Matt more than Jeff, but he's like slower. It's like watching the Young Bucks
Not
slow
for
down their
nothing.
pace.
I also want to know, like
Is
my
that
personal
obvious?
opinion. Is that obvious? I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
the man
At
In
had
some
years.
point,
my
you see the wear and tear where it's like you can't run a 4.2 speed forever. At some point, you can be running like 5.2, and it's just like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
you've been doing this
Yeah,
shit since you were 14, bro. Your speed is slowing down. I hate to say it that way, but it just does. That's the cookie crumbling at you. It is what it is.
So I want to get into quickly his Cody's time in AEW and how the fans sort of turned on him. So it's interesting that they didn't. Of course, they didn't mention it, but Cody came for Triple H when AEW started. I don't know if that was just his way of
The
getting,
sledgehammer to the
Hunter's
chair.
attention, or in a way to build his brand, or like did he really feel away? And then he started this company, and then the crowd turned on him. He was getting booed for the last few months that he was in that company. Why do
Hmm.
you think that is? And do you think it became the cool thing to boo? Someone tweeted that it became the cool thing to boo Cody Rhodes and nobody really wanted to. But why do you think he soured in AEW? And do you think it was because at the end of the day, he's a WWE guy?
That's the number one reason why they soured him because he's a WWE guy. Like you look at when they formed that company, you have Cody, you have the Bucks, you have Kenny Omega. The Bucks are highly respected as one of the greatest tag teams in the world. Kenny Omega was white hot coming out of New Japan, just won IWGP Championship. You know, ascended from the juniors to the heavyweights, was putting on bangers after bangers. That's when he became best bout machine. So Kenny is like literally like Michael Jordan becoming a free agent, and he picks AEW. And then you have Cody, who's trying to prove a point to WWE because WWE made it clear, we have our brass rings, but sometimes the sky's the ceiling for a lot of the people that work in WWE. And Cody was one of those where it's like, we don't see you as a main eventer. You ain't Cena. You ain't Roman. You ain't Rollins. You ain't Randy Orton or Brock Lesnar. You gotta go elsewhere and prove your worth on why we should look at you as a main eventer, which is what someone
Drew
else is doing right
McIntyre.
now, but she's on the shelf.
Mhm.
But with Cody, all AEW basically established that we're going to be anti WWE as far as we want our product to be all about in ring wrestling. We want you to see you put on bangers of matches, match quality, the spot fest, the million super kicks that the Young Bucks love doing, the V triggers from Kenny Omega. Cody's not that type of guy that can give you like that type of work rate that AEW fans have become accustomed to when you're seeing like the Lucha Dragons doing like crazy ass spots or Vikingo doing crazy ass spots. Like Cody's more of like a WWE guy as far as like his wrestling style. And that's something that AEW fans were kind of like, we respected, but this is not what we want. Go somewhere else. Go back to WWE with that shit. We kind of want to see you like really wrestle.
I thought he
Like
still
Darby
with his
Allin,
brother
Simic
still
reverse
had the
shit.
best match of
I mean,
that.
But and then
Cody still had bangers. It's just more of like Cody was also giving character work, and for sometimes AEW that can kind of go hit or miss with the fans. So that last 6 months was just rough because it's kind of like we don't want this from you.
Right.
yeah, and then oh, my boys are there. Okay, I'm watching the split screen. Don't worry, I watch them. But like even with his feud with I don't want to call him Dilger. I hate doing that. With Sean Pierce, sorry. Even
Sean
that,
Spears.
yeah, even that feud, it was great, but I think it was overload. It's too much storytelling. The wife was involved. It was overload for a lot of fans who literally wanted a company that they were tired of the storylines in WWE. They were tired of the gimmicky stuff. They were tired. And AEW was the secondary option of not only seeing their wrestlers that were put on the shelf wrestle again, because remember Chris Jericho started rolling up, Britt Baker started slowly being on, Tessa had backed out of well, she wasn't backed out of the deal, she didn't join the deal.
Hmm.
Britt Baker kind of took it on her to be the queen of the women's division. You know, Brandy Rose was getting a little bit more involved. They
Open mic
they were
night.
doing things differently. I think that where it was is you can't say you want something different and then make a new
Mhm.
company and try and make it the same thing. That's not making it different. I think he tried to be what he learned in WWE there. And I don't know whether it got lost in translation creatively. I think a lot of the fans kind of peaked that later on before he left. And I think that's where the booing started because I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but it was something he slipped up on the cusp of like almost talking like he was still in WWE. And you
Mm.
can't do that. They're not here like a lot of those fans that were there were not there for that. Like they had just gotten off the high of like not Dean Ambrose, like John Moxley was being signed there. I think he left on the cusp of they were trying to also become WWE too much. Because if
Right.
you notice now, they are in some retrospect, they're trying to be a merger of WCW and WWE. And I'll say this why. Because they're trying to give you storyline. They're trying to
Right.
give you real matches. Before they were trying to give you a little bit of attitude era. But
Right.
then you got the one guy who called Tony a fucking mark doing a dance competition with the guy he's fighting a wrestling match with. Like, in what physical world does that work?
Right.
It works in WWE.
And I
It
I,
should
I agree with that.
right.
And I think Mike put that it's or even Andre put that it's like and it's no, I'm sorry, wasn't him. But it's more NJPW than WWE and I think there
Right.
is a focus on wrestling, but I think with Cody, especially after watching his documentary, the only reason he did everything he did outside of WWE after he left was to get back to WWE and be
Mhm.
paid what he's worth and to up his value. So AEW at the end of the day is just another promotion of Cody Rhodes. Like, was he a co-founder, quote unquote? Maybe. But at the end of the day, it was just to raise his stock to come back home. And I think that's what made it so dope. And to Mike's point, the fans are fickle. And Cody Rhodes is a megastar because as soon as he returned, he was a megastar.
Oh yeah. Like I
You
look at
know?
but I always thought Cody was just a great wrestler. Like even outside of WWE, you look at if you've seen his match in AAA that one year when he participated in Triple Mania, had to be one of the best matches he had that year. One of the best. Like, and it just bothers me that the fans are fickle. That's one of the wrestlers I hate. That's one of the things that sometimes is hard to make me understand other wrestling fans because y'all say I want something different out of Cody. Y'all say he's another Nepo wrestler, baby. You say he's this. He literally left and went to the bottom to show you guys he's more than Dusty Rhodes' son, and y'all still go back and forth with him. And it's understandable because, like you said, wrestling fans are fickle, but he's proven point after point after point. Now Vince McMahon's like, all right, you proved your point. I'm flying down to Atlanta to come get your ass. So now what?
You heard
So
Corey Graves, who always has like those crazy punchlines, just simply said from undesirable to undeniable.
And
yeah,
that's a fact.
that's a fact.
And that's a fact.
The chairman of WWE hopped on a fucking private jet and flew to the man's
And
private
flew
home to
to
go get
Atlanta.
him back.
That's what I'm talking about.
He
You know
drove
how many people
outside an
Vince has
hour of
probably done that
Marietta.
for? You could probably count on one hand how many times Vince has done that for someone. He did that for Cody fucking Rhodes. And y'all want to sit there and be fickle with your AEW tribalism on, we don't see it for him. You know who saw it for him? Vince McMahon, which is
Vince
why Cody
McMahon
Rhodes main evented fucking WrestleMania this past year.
drove an
Right.
hour outside of downtown Atlanta to Marietta in the boondocks somewhere of his mansion to go tell him, hey, I need you back. Not a lot of people can say that flex. That's a flex. That's not even a flex. That's a strut. Okay. That is being asked to be the final model to walk in your design on a runway. And I don't care what anyone thinks. Cody, run with it. You're looking at the future of that company. The CEO sees it. Everybody else needs to see it.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah, but
see Cody coming back, Brian?
yeah. I always felt like he was, independent wrestlers, it's like Cody felt like he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And he didn't fit. Like he was like, dude, you didn't have to scratch and claw. Like, I remember when he was doing his interview circuit, and he would always say stuff like he didn't know what to charge people, because he didn't really
Mhm.
like understand like his value because he came in through the system. But after a while, I was like, all right, especially when that clause was about, and somebody brought up in the comments, not challenging for the AEW championship, and then for which we later found out was because that's not the title he wanted. He wanted the title his dad couldn't get. And
Mhm.
so, like you brought up earlier about the sledgehammer, yeah, that was like, when you like break up with somebody or somebody break up with you, and you still trying to get their attention. That's what that was. It wasn't so much. It was like, cause and he revealed, like I remember the first time I found out was the post WrestleMania interview. He was like, Triple H is my favorite wrestler. I was like, oh, I remember saying there like, that's why you did that shit, because you love him so much, and you just look at me, Hunter, just look
He
at
was
me. And
hurt. He was
he was
hurt.
hurt,
He's
and then
like,
he
pay
got
attention
Brandy to
to
place like,
me.
and Brandy shouted to
We've
her. He's
all
like,
been
"Look, will
there.
you be
You be in your
Stephanie?"
feelings and you just have a sledgehammer in your hand, and it's just like, yo,
You by your
I
damn
Mhm.
self.
100%
I
have been there
never.
before.
You by
insert
your
the
damn
lemonade
self.
album.
Nah.
Yeah, so it was
I
it
bust
was a
your
great
windows out
moment.
your car.
Wow. It was a great moment. It was everything, and the only thing that was just so sad is that Triple H's health issues won't let us get that match, because
Mm,
that
that's
would have been
money.
the match. He would have came back, or before he got to the title, he would have
Mhm.
had to go through Triple H. It's just that's what usually happens. Triple H would have been the place the role of Mick Foley for him, where
This is
he had to.
true.
Right. No, I totally agree. He had to do that. So why do you think, and I don't want to get too much into what happened at Mania,
Mhm.
but when do you guys see Cody capturing some gold?
41,
WrestleMania 41, so over a
41.
year from now.
Mhm. My
No,
tribal
I
chief.
think he
My
takes it
tribal
from
chief.
Seth.
Nah, he don't want that one. Him already said him
Mm.
don't want that title. He want that one.
No, yeah, you're right. In the press conference, he was like, he did say, I'm gonna go back to what I came here for, and it's that.
Mhm.
So
Now I know I'm being like super ambitious, but I really feel like this regime is like, we're gonna really rewrite the record book. Hell, that might
Mhm.
be the reason why
Mhm.
Austin Theory's still U.S. champion, low key.
hello.
I'm
That
not sure.
but
No, no,
also
no.
they're looking at longer reigns. The only two belts they're not key on putting a longer reign on are the tag team and the women's belt, because if you don't notice the pattern, this longer reigns, like Rhea is about to hit a long reign. Gunther is 20. We were at WrestleMania. He's 28
He's
days away
under
from
30. Yeah.
from
Well,
going
the
over the
Usos
honky tonk
already got
man.
under this,
Right.
but I
But that's a
think
trend.
they want, if you really want to race Double H and you really want to put him to the side, have Roman go more than 2,400 days. That's the
No.
reason why you got the world title.
But
You know,
okay.
and let's be real. So I'm gonna take it from the sports avenue, right?
Mhm.
There's a guy who I could not stand. That is TB12. But when he lost, Tom Brady, was when somebody took it from him. I don't like looking at until somebody like is clear cut better than Roman Reigns. No, I don't want to see them win a championship.
You're
You
right.
know,
But
and
it's
so that's
gotten to the point of we're questioning who's better and we don't know yet.
hmm.
It's gotten to the point where a lot of people are questioning, like, it's not just who's gonna take it, it's like who's qualified enough.
Yeah.
And it's like I be saying the Henry General Gonta, but Gonta's done such a great job putting the prestige back on the Intercontinental Championship that I don't want him to just drop it to anyone either. I'm selfish
Mhm.
Right.
about that too.
Bingo.
Like even the Intercontinental
Right.
Champion, like you gonna give it to who?
Yeah, because truth be
Right.
told, Honky Tonk Man only got the belt because Bad News Brown wasn't available.
Yep.
Now
And
that's
Mm.
some
and
tea right there.
and then only reason why he got the belt so soon too is because Ricky Steamboat wanted to be a dedicated father.
Father, yeah, he left.
So, but I think if I do like the longer reigns, I can understand where you're coming from, Andre. But I really enjoy these longer reigns on some aspects. Um,
I
as
just
much as
can't see every title
I was gonna say that.
being so guarded for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And I think what you say is right. It makes everyone in the roster look weak because at the end of the day, that's the problem with Roman. Whether you appreciate his reign, is who is possibly going to fill those shoes? Who could really replace Roman, the tribal chief, as undisputed Universal Champion? And it would have to be Cody, I think.
But I like
Ultimately,
when he says it as a shoot. He challenging people. So that with what I take that is dig down, dig deep down inside within yourself, and figure out what it's going to take for you to be better than him. What LA Knight is doing, LA Knight is going out there digging deep within himself. Now, is he on Roman Reigns level as champion and all that stuff? No, not yet. But
He's
he's
on Austin's
believing in
level.
Not
himself.
even close.
He's
But
on
he's
Austin's
believing in
level.
himself, right? Miz
Mm.
believes in himself. Dig deep down, and figure out a way where you can draw more money than the bloodline, where you could draw more money than Roman, where you can outsell more t-shirts than Roman. LA Knight can do that part, the merch, but he might. We're gonna see. But that's what I want to see. I do think that title can be fine though. Right now, it's a lot of tribal combat going on as we get ready for RVD versus my man Jungle Jack. I mean
wow.
Jack Perry for the FTW Championship. Um,
Ooh.
but overall, I think it's going to be. I do think that with Cody, I would like to see him become world champion and eventually, but I just don't think he wants to go that route. But another failure. I don't think if he loses again, it will hurt because you could always do third time is the charm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Good
I
point.
agree.
And it doesn't hurt him because Roman literally went through this with Brock Lesnar. Roman didn't win at 31. Roman didn't win at 34 against Brock.
Mm-hmm.
And then even when they did the sorry shows, Roman didn't win those either. It took Roman a while before he
Yeah.
got that from Brock. And then he didn't get that 1v1 against Brock. He got that at SummerSlam, which I believe it was a Fatal 4-Way, if I'm not mistaken. So it took a while. It took all the way till the Saudi shows and WrestleMania 38 for Roman to be like, I finally conquered Brock after all these years of failing and failing and failing.
I remember people were turning on him to the point where he was like, you know what? Screw y'all. I ain't doing it for y'all. I told y'all I had leukemia. Y'all still came back and booed for me. I'm doing it for me. And that's when the
Mm-hmm.
confidence started to boost. Like once you figure out you're doing something for yourself, to hell with everybody else. That's just I'm just doing it for me at this point. And you know, that's where that boot of confidence came in. So I think
Right.
that's what Cody needs. Granted, he left for it, but now you see a different Cody that's just like for him to want to get his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar for a third time to prove point. I think your
Right.
confidence is just shot. You're shot up like a can of prime. Like you're just spiked with sugar. Like that match, and I don't know if P and Brian paid attention to me, but I was like leaning over in my chair. Like I did not
Mm-hmm.
know if Cody was gonna really walk out and win. Like I was against him. I thought it was gonna be Brock's night again. I thought this was gonna be
Mm-hmm.
we were gonna get a game 4, but no, it only took game 3 to make sure that and Brock realized it. That's why he gave him his respectful game
Right.
at the end of the match because
Right.
like you really like had the proof point like nah, I'm really available to whoop your ass, and even if you
Mm-hmm.
put me down, I'm gonna get
And I
back up.
think I think he had to go through Brock before he won any championship because that's the biggest obstacle. Like Justin referred to, like Roman had to finally beat Brock clean a few times for us to really be like, okay, this is like where we're going. And Cody had to achieve that mountain. So
And
speaking of unpopular opinions, one of our like
mhm.
longtime friends of the podcast is Maggie Wright on Twitter says he shouldn't have beaten Cody Rhodes should not have beaten Seth Rollins 3 times. What are your thoughts on that? Because I mentioned his debut, which was against Seth, which couldn't have been any better. And now, he's kind of in the company again. Like he's had a few feuds since Seth, and they mixed it up on Monday on Raw. How did you guys feel about his feud with Seth Rollins? Seth freaking Rollins.
It was fun. It made a lot of sense. It was the best comeback feud for him when you really think about it. I thought Cody might have lost match 2. I thought it was going to be the typical back and forth. I can definitely understand where what was the handle? I'm sorry. I'm but
At it's Maggie Wright.
Yeah, I can understand where they're coming from. Uh, it's really a toss up though. It felt like they was really trying to establish Cody, but I think that also kind of like takes me to my unpopular opinion of that. Had he went on from that, if it wasn't for the injury, he would have got booed. I think a loss in there
Mm.
may have prevented what I think was going to happen. But right now they got their next everything they wanted Lex Luger to be, everything you know Hogan was then. I think Cody can be now. But I think, he probably should have lost maybe one of those.
Yeah, please don't say
But you
Hogan,
figure
but
too,
I get it.
he was winning, like Cody came back and he was winning everything, right? You remember he wrestled The Miz on Raw, he wrestled Kevin Owens. It was a couple other people, like he was just like win, 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 and then pay-per-view time, win. So it felt like he was getting ready to get pushed down everybody's throat. So I can definitely understand where they're coming
So
from.
you think the injury put a halt to any disfavor of him coming back?
I think the injury helped him. I
Okay.
think it really helped him because if it wasn't for that injury, I think by October, November, people would have been booing Cody out the building unless he would have been in some sort of story with the bloodline and Sami Zayn.
Hmm. That's
Fair
true.
enough.
That's
I
true.
mean, then you also had, Bray Wyatt come back around that time. So unless you put him in a story with him,
Didn't
obviously
they try that mixing
uh,
Cody and the Fiend, or am I making that up?
no, that was rumors that was supposed to come up
Mhm.
soon.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that was a part of the rumorville that that was going to be another obstacle. Um, but I think that's the only way I could see Cody being cheered. They would have had to put him in a compelling story.
Unfortunately, it takes an extreme because of how fickle wrestling fans are. And as soon as the IWC sees someone that WWE wants to push, we do turn
Mhm.
on them. We do resent them a little bit. And I think Cody being able to take that break during that injury really helped him. And I hate to say that, but like in wrestling, that time off can sometimes be exactly what you need. And I hate to
Mhm.
say that, of course, I never want anyone to get injured. I never, of course, but
Facts.
us missing Cody kind of made us a little bit more excited because it would have been easy for them to shove him down our throats after he debuted. He could have
Mhm.
won that championship right away when he came in, and then that would have been the worst thing for him.
Did
So
you
That's
him
see?
being
exactly
able to come
why
back and
I
get
was
that,
also one of those that's like, it made no sense for Cody to win at WrestleMania. Yes, a lot of people were in their feelings. I know, because y'all were in my fucking mentions for days about that shit. When I was like, what has Cody Rhodes done to earn beating the tribal chief the first time out at WrestleMania
You did
40?
say that. Like,
Other than, well, he has all the momentum. Oh, he has all this. Guess what? We've seen the momentum before. We've seen it with Rusev. We've seen it when people love Rusev. Rusev's over like Rover. All that doesn't mean shit. Cody wrestled Seth 3 times and was gone with a serious injury. He comes to that number 30 at the Rumble. He wrestles a little bit with Gunther, but Gunther went the damn distance and put on a
Gunther was
show in
two,
that
right?
Rumble. Gunther was
Mhm.
one because
oh,
Rhea
oh
was number two, and we
yeah,
came this close of having both your Rumble winners coming from the first two spots, which would have been the first time that's ever happened for the men's and women's. So Cody's never gone through adversity. And it's like Brian said, like he came out the gate hot, but that was something WWE had to do because it's not just you're sending a message to Cody, you're sending a message to the people at AEW. You're trying to entice your Kenny Omega to come over. You're trying to entice the Young Bucks to come over. You're trying to entice your MJF, your Hangman Adam Page. And then to be like, not only do we want you to be in WWE, we're not going to bury you off rip like we do,
right.
like the WCW talent with the invasion shit. Like, nah, if
Mhm.
you come over to WWE, we will push you. Think if Kenny Omega comes from AEW to WWE, and that's why Cody got pushed like that to where he was beating everyone. Because like you prove your point that you could be a main eventer one day. Now let's see you prove it under our microscope.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he got injured, but Brian put it perfect, which is it's a blessing in disguise because if he wins the title, then what? Because then you just
Yeah.
hotshot him to the title. And that's why I never believed he was going to win at WrestleMania this year because you were gone for 6 months, and now the rocket is beyond. Like it's not even strapped to you; it's all over you. But then
Mhm.
you're gonna beat Roman the first time out. When Jey Uso failed multiple times, when Daniel Bryan failed multiple times, when Edge failed multiple times, when
Kevin
Cena failed, when Cesaro failed,
Kevin
when
Owens
Brock
had
failed multiple
three
times, but Cody
matches, and
gets
I
it
didn't
the
even
first time
realize it.
out.
Yeah.
But Cody's gonna get this the first time out, and then what? So he beats the tribal chief. Then what? You untopple the top. You stop the unstoppable.
Right.
Then where do you go? Because then there's only down for Cody versus you have him lose at Mania, and now you have an entire calendar year. How about prove you can stay healthy for more than 3 months? Because Cody's not a
Damn.
spring chicken either. Cody's not 20. Cody's not in his early 30s. How about you stay healthy for six
But
months? How about you prove that, all right, maybe the crowd wanting you to beat Roman wasn't just a fluke because they're tired of seeing Roman being champion. Maybe this is, we are behind Cody Rhodes. How about you have some adversity? You're going through that with Brock Lesnar right now because
Mm-hmm.
Brock is not only a former champion, Brock used to whoop Roman's ass numerous times. Brock was almost the unmovable object. How about you actually do something with Brock, which, to Cody's credit,
That
he
was the
did.
best thing that he could have did. That's the best thing that he could have did. And the
but
thing with Cody as well is we want to see that come up. Like we that journey is important to the, I don't want to say story, but it is important to that. And Cody respects the business too much to come back and win the title on some flash pan shit. Like I wouldn't be
Mm.
surprised if they pitched him to win the championship upon his return and he was just like, no, 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 no. Way too soon. Way too many stories to be told. Like let me
Mhm.
climb the mountain. Like that's what I came back for, and I think it like totally works for him. But I did want to ask you guys: is he probably like top 3 legacy wrestlers, like from like the descendants of like icons, like people that changed the game? You know, Dusty Rhodes. Is Cody Rhodes put like up there as one of the best?
Ooh, so you saying they got to be like he got come from an icon, right? Not just
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
I
like
mean, right
following in
now,
those big footsteps.
yeah. I'm saying right now. I mean, you got him and Roman because with the Wild Samoans, man, and then Charlotte Flair.
At the
Exactly.
very least, he's in the conversation because even though fans won't give Cody Rhodes his respect, you don't get AEW without Cody Rhodes. And that's part of his legacy too, is
mhm.
that wrestling that we be watching during Wednesday nights when we're doing fan club, Cody had a lot to do with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like without Cody, like everybody talks about doing a competition. Like TNA talks about being a competition until the person that was the face of their competition, even he came up to WWE. When AJ Styles left TNA, that was the biggest blow to TNA that could have ever been delivered. Like
Mm.
you went to the person that TNA fought the competition that TNA fought to beat. Cody, on the other hand, leaves, discovers the indie scene, works the indie scenes like he's from the bottom, meets the Young Bucks, tells the Young Bucks, "Hey, you can do this because you guys have the brains, the money, the expertise to do this." Brings on Kenny Omega because again tells Kenny Omega, "Listen, you don't want to go to WWE, that's fine, but you do have the talent, the brain, the look, and the scanner to be at your own pinnacle somewhere different that's different than New Japan." Brings in Jericho, who swore on his deathbed he said he was done with wrestling the way Punk said he was done with wrestling, and tells him, "Hey, I have something that's going to opposite the WWE that they're begging you to come back to. I have something opposite." And Jericho just goes, "Okay, I'm down." Like you literally, your resume says you started something rather than you were a part of something, and that is something that makes you top 3, hands down.
Mm.
Like we talk a lot about like what it takes to be on a Mount Rushmore. Like Cody could end up on Cody's on somebody's Mount Rushmore. Let's be real. Down the
Ah,
line, as a youth, like all these kids that he's handing these white belts to and inspiring, and he's gonna end up on their Mount Rushmore someday because not a lot of your favorite wrestlers can say, "Hey, I
I was
went
gonna
to
ask you about the belt. Did you see? You see how much they cost?
yo
And people
that
was
belt
buying them.
that
Which
belt
belt?
costing what was it 350,
250 for the the
and people
the
were
belt,
buying them
and
like
it's
cake,
signed.
The
and people
Cody
were buying them
Rhodes
like cake.
weightlifting one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
People were
okay.
buying them like they were hotcakes.
Those
They were
today's
Krispy
the
Kreme
Bret
straight
Hart
with the
glasses.
light on.
Oh, I definitely
Really?
remember having the Bret Hart glasses when I was a kid. I was like, nah, man, you buying this shit for me. I want an icy belt and the glasses.
Mm.
But he's on somebody's Mount Rushmore because
They two
like you
fifty,
said,
Dylan.
ain't a lot of people that can go up and say, like, it's like almost like that clip of Batman and Superman trying to one up Black Panther, and they're like, he's like, I got money, well, I have like supernatural powers, and Black Panther's like, all right, I created vibranium and I run a country. The fuck you two doing? Like that's Cody's flex. Like I started a competition when there was no competition. Like Cody did it also in a moment where I always say that and I'm going to talk about it tonight if you tune into the wrestling realm. The territories are back in a serious way. I've never seen like, and we were having a conversation with a couple people out in Detroit where there are rumbles of them trying to bring it there, but it's just hard to bring wrestling to the Midwest. But we
Oh,
have
they didn't have
California.
indie.
Not really, no.
Mm.
Like they're trying to do it. They're trying to do it in Chicago. The California scene is back up and rising. The Southern scene never really left. New Jersey, we have so many. We have Battle Club Pro, Invictus, GCW. We have all these places up here. You got places in Canada. You have all these places. The indies are back. They're just not the way that they used to be back in the day, where you can kind of harp on them and say, I'm gonna take this person. There's people that would rather sit there and hone their craft and make it their home than leave.
Mhm.
But Cody literally gave you the alternative of like, hey, if you're tired of the indies and you don't want to go WWE, you can come here. You can try out here. I now have Ring of Honor. He left it in Tony Khan's hands. Tony Khan's flipped Ring of Honor to the point where you can say, hey, I want to wrestle a Ring of Honor show and I want to go home.
Yeah, I
You
like
have a
what
hand in
Dylan
it.
said right here. I want to know what y'all think, and we definitely gonna get the boss's opinion on this one because we know how she feel about John Cena. But is Cody a
Oh.
bigger, pure baby face? Dylan says yes, and Dylan's somebody who's a wrestling opinion I always respect, even when we disagree, because Dash and Cody Rhodes wasn't no champion. But
But that's the
is
cool
Cody?
thing about the documentary was you get to
Mhm.
learn some things about Cody. Like you guys were talking about the documentary and stuff like that, and I was sitting here thinking like, if not for this documentary, I don't know a lot of the stuff about Cody Rhodes because again, we talked about this on the previous fan clubs where I started watching wrestling again at WrestleMania 30. So he's getting ready to go into the Stardust gimmick. So that's how I was knowing Cody Rhodes was through this gimmick that like it wasn't really hidden, and then you don't realize till the documentary how much he fucking hated it. Like the dude was talking about, I'm drinking whiskey and Gatorade mix. That's how much I hate this shit. And as anyone that's ever drank alcohol before, you do not mix those two at all because that's just absolutely disgusting.
It's like
But
making
he was like,
Robitussin at home.
I'm at, this is how low I am doing this shit. Because Dash and Cody Rose didn't hit. Because Legacy didn't hit. And then watching that documentary was like, oh shit, I didn't know this. Oh
Mhm.
shit, I've heard about Dash and Cody Rose, but I living through this like Seindole and Brian were. Or I wasn't going through a lot of the Cody stuff. So it wasn't until Stardust where it's like, yo, so damn, now this starts to click, and now I see why he was like, nah, let me go to AEW, let me go to the Indies, let me go prove myself because this shit wasn't hitting, and it's almost like I'm bumping my head against the ceiling, and there's like literally nothing else
Mhm.
except leave.
Yeah.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. MJF, Adam Cole. If y'all been following the story, everybody's waiting. Who's going to turn on who first? But MJF is out here. You talk about sports entertainment. First, they just went. They played dodgeball today with some kids, but now they having a promo battle. Well, MJF thought they was, and Adam goes, "Stop, stop! I don't want to have a promo battle." And he's like, "Max, we're going to make history for this world championship."
Oh Lord.
But
So
yeah, this
what
feud.
they're trying to do with MJF,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna keep this to the wheels fall off until they drop that Von Erich promo, and then he's going to be back
Mm,
to douchebag MJF. I guarantee you,
I
because
didn't think about that.
you have to think about the fact that like
I
this is
forgot
up
about
until then.
when does that come out?
That comes out the end of this year.
Oh, okay, so you think he won't be? Wait,
I think
Good.
he's gonna ride it a little bit.
I don't want them to break up. This is the best story
This
in
is the
fucking
best.
AW.
They're going to. This is gonna be.
it's the
It's gonna last you a
storylines.
while. It's gonna last a while, but I guarantee you, if it ain't Adam Cole saying I'm tired of your shit, it's gonna be MJF being like, "You made me do this. This is your fault. I like a fucking clown. We're gonna go to a so I'm gonna whoop your ass." I give it another like 3 months because he MJF, like, he was doing this movie, came back and spilled tequila on a kid's face. He needs a good pussy. That's just my 2 cents on that. Like, until then, he was the guy who called Tony a mark and threw tequila in the kid's face. He needs a good publicity anywhere you go. So if he's got to gyrate and spin a Rooney in the ring to look good, let him do it. Let him have fun. He couldn't, like, there's no bad. If you guys don't realize, like, the only other douchebag that's leaning douchebaggery there in AEW right now is Punk, because you're just trying to have a belt at this point. Like, come on, the real AEW championship, cut me a fucking break. You're not the champion. So
That's your
That's your
favorite
boy.
though.
That's
I know it's
your
not.
man.
Listen,
That's your
She
man.
archived them.
listen. Don't even start to come for me, because right is right, is wrong is wrong. You're not allowed to just put an X on the championship. I respect the goal more than I respect the wrestler. That was stupid. That was stupid. And if Brian knows me, he knows how I feel about holding belts. That was dumb. That was dumb. This whole thing don't make no sense. The only thing that makes me excited is that you'll see Samoa Joe and CM Punk go at it again. The person that used to love Ring of Honor as a kid lives for that. But the whole thing's stupid. And Vaughn, shut up. So, like I said, I think
As much
that
as I like Samoa Joe and CM Punk in the ring, let's be honest, Joe, we at that
there's
point,
nobody
dude, because
else.
it ain't
Who
hitting the
else are you
same,
gonna go up
and we know the
against?
wear and tear is there.
Who else is Punk and Samoa Joe going against? Orange Cassidy? Who else
Well,
is
real
left?
quick though, back to the Cena of it all, because Pete, we didn't get your input on Dylan's comment. Oh, you muted.
We were waiting for you, boss. You muted.
I absolutely agree.
Ooh,
And
okay.
Because Cody has the, I don't know what it is about him, but he just has that vulnerability that is just so genuine about everything that you really can't help but connect with him. And you have the family legacy. You have the fact that he was able to prove himself outside of the company. You have the fact that he has adults, kids, black, white, Spanish. Everyone wants Cody Rhodes to win, like in life. So I 100% think he's that person. I think he represents hope. I think he represents hard work. Like, he is everything that, like, Dusty is, but in his own way. And because we grew up with him kind of in the business, we're always gonna, like, fuck with him. And in a way, he has that advantage on John Cena. So I appreciate that he was able to leave the company and come back. So I love it.
I think about it too in the sense of, like, so we finished Heels, update on that. And one thing I noticed in the juxtapose of that whole show is that you want Jack Spade to be a heel, but his background and his storyline and his relationship with his father and how that complicated was, and then the father is not around anymore, and the only thing the father's only concern was take care of your brother, and his brother is this privileged little douchebag who can muzzle up a sorry unless he sees the errors and the effects of what not being apologetic costs him. And I kind of want Jack to be more of the face. He's more of a Cody, in my opinion. But then he's dealing with somebody, you also dealing with Ace, who, like, has a reason to be so pent up and frustrated, and he wants to be himself because the path that he's given is not the one he's chosen. He don't really have a path. But then he starts to realize the error of his ways, and he's like, you know what? I fucked up. I'm sorry. He had this relationship with Crystal. He kind of messed up with Crystal. He's apologetic for that. He's kind of a douchebag in real life. You know, he's supposed to be a face, and he doesn't know when to turn off his bad switch to the point where he becomes a heel. He's forced to become a heel because his emotions take over, you know, what he's really supposed to be doing. So I think Cody, that's probably what Cody was wrestling with, those demons for a while. Like, is it really worth being a face? Am I really going to get the title? Like, I'm not going to get it because of my dad's son. I can't get it because they don't think I'm good enough. Like, what is it going to take? I think he was very much in the what is it going to take for a very long time stage. But now that he went through his tribulation, he understands, like, listen, not everything's going to come to me easy because of my last name.
Right.
I got to work for it. The fans have gravitated more toward
Right.
that instead of, oh, he's Dusty's boy. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
And speaking
I
of
agree.
Dusty's boys, because I wanted to get into his career in comparison to Goldust or Dustin Runnels per se,
Mm-hmm.
because I would say Cody's best match in AEW was against Dustin at
Facts.
I want to say All Out or All In, one of the two, right?
That was the
All in.
first All Out, I thought.
I just remember it was bloody
It was
and it was
bloody as fuck.
vicious
Mhm.
and fucking
My
phenomenal.
Right.
brother.
Yeah. And that is when like wrestling is at its purest, where it's like brother to brother, legacy, two different complete paths to get to where they are, but still have to follow in like Dusty Rhodes' shoes. And
Mm-hmm.
watching, Goldust documentaries, reading his book, and now this Cody documentary, and just that sibling rivalry. Like, how do you compare their careers, Cody and Dustin? And do you feel like they both were able to kind of come up and come out of Dusty's shadow, or do you see Cody as the one more? Because I think Dustin might be a little underrated in a way.
Yeah, I think Dustin's underrated in a sense. It's always, Goldust will be the best thing he's ever done. And that's not a bad thing. That is, if you want to make an argument, Vince McMahon's top three creations.
Mhm.
Undertaker, Goldust, and Kane. Um,
Hmm.
I think that he, because of like, he was willing to do things that nobody else would do. And even though he had the issues with his dad at the time, for whatever reason, like sometimes the tragedy gives us things in wrestling that we wouldn't have gotten. Like, you know, um, but Dustin is a good wrestler. Like, don't get twisted. He could tell a story in the ring. But it's just like once he went gold dust, it's kind of hard to see anything else. You know. Um, and that's the
I
best way
like
to put it.
that.
You know. Even if you go back to like in '90 when they was both coming out, I think it was SummerSlam or something. I
Hmm.
didn't see it, but granted, I was not old enough to lived it. But even as a child, when I was watching, I knew that Dusty Rhodes was somebody special. I didn't know like he was till later that he was like the American Dream. But I could tell his father had more charisma, and that's when Dustin was getting beat up, and his father did the promo and said, "Let me be your partner," and he cried. So, but I felt Dustin eventually had to do things his way, and he figured it out. Cody, again, I ain't see Cody until he left, and then once he was gone, when I watched him go through TNA, Ring of Honor, I said, "Oh, he's like legit." And then when he comes back, like they said, what I loved the part was talked about the entrance music, and he
Hmm.
said Kevin Dunn was like, "No, we're gonna make it better. We're gonna make that entrance presentation better." Y'all let me know. I don't remember people yelling the "oh" or singing along the song in AEW. Not the way they do in WWE. Like our whole section, because I think you could even see you're now starting to see people are learning the words to the song, and every time
Yeah.
there's more and more words. At first, it was just the "oh," then it was
People
adrenaline,
people were like up to adrenaline in my soul. Can't be
something,
a
something, something. Cody Rhodes.
and then after that, oh you're whoa. That's all you
Yeah,
They did
you
for a
even see
time in
signs that say that.
AEW, but at the same time, you gotta remember, like Cody was going against Jericho, and fucking that AEW crowd loves
they
Judas.
love Judas.
Yeah, they
They
do.
love Judas. So like,
Facts.
if we got to pick two, we're picking Judas, and then remember, Punk comes back, so now you got Cult of Personality too in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's singing cult of personality the way they used to
Oh,
though.
I've
Unless
seen
you're in
it. I've seen it
Chicago.
in DC, but
Really?
yeah,
Oh
It
yeah,
wasn't
no,
in
I
Jersey,
feel
that's
like
all I
I
have to
feel like
say.
they do sing it.
Not in
especially
Just
Jersey,
those
but
first couple months that Punk was back. Or
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yo, see, I'm with you, Martell Reed. I'm with you. I'm like, na 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 na, and that's gonna
something,
be stuck in
something.
my head forever.
that's why I always remix it with adrenaline and myself. Cody Rhodes is not a hoe.
Ooh,
Stop it.
ah! I love that rendition. I think that's what I'm gonna go with.
I'm
So
still
I
gonna
love
go with the
that Black
never
Thoughts.
saw
Shout
the
out to Black
way.
Thoughts. He's very
Whoa.
passionate about Dustin and what he could bring to the table, which makes me
Damn.
feel like we need to
Damn.
address
Write me a
this
promo. Cutting promos like
at
the
some
wrestler you
point, like
are.
in a fan club, because this is passion right here. You know what I'm saying? Like this is passion. So I think we'll definitely be getting into that because they had two different upbringings. They had two different
Mhm.
Dusty Rhodes as
I know
role
exactly how
models
that
and
And they
feels.
mentioned that in the
figures. So
documentary. They mentioned that
yeah.
in the
So
documentary
I
that they
wanted to
had
get
two different
into the
people.
documentary and talk about some of the things that surprised you guys. So I am one of those people that, I don't like when people get like too close to like my parents, for example. Like my mom is
Mm.
like really nice, and like in church, like people like called her mom, and it was like, oh my god, your mom has done so much for me. And when I was younger, like I kind of was like, okay, but like she's like mine, like she's not yours. So I always wondered like how Cody Rhodes felt, being that Dusty Rhodes kept all of these NXT and the developmental kids, like those were his kids. Everyone credits him about how he was able to guide them and be their vision and make the most wildest personality or even the most tame personality, and so he was able to make the hugger over. Like he saw things in people and molded them to be WWE champions. And then you have Cody Rhodes here who's like, wait, I'm his actual son, and I kind of just flopped in his opinion to like I always imagine like how did he feel about that. And I love that he addressed that in the documentary, and I would love to know everyone's thoughts on that sort of like correlation between Cody and Dusty's kids, and even like Seth being one of Dusty's kids, and how that felt and how he resented it. Like how did you guys feel when you guys watched that?
Justin, I think you touched on something earlier. Um I already lost my train of thought what I was going to say to you because you said it earlier about like Cody learning to be somebody who like learning to be this person through the Stardust and all or something like that. And to me
Oh,
that
coming in at the start is the gimmick. Yeah, it's
right.
like reading a book, and instead of chapter one, I'm coming in at chapter 12.
Right.
Mm,
So he got all these. So to piggyback on what you said, Cody had to go all these steps kind of on his own with just his father on the phone. Fast forward to NXT being created, you now have not only your father's involved in the creative process, but he's molding people to who he are. He's responsible for the Seth Rollins, the Sasha Banks, the Baileys, the Roman Reigns, the Dean Ambrose, all these people he's responsible for making them who they are today. And you had to literally scrape the bottom of the barrel to learn something, if not everything you possibly could to make something of yourself. Then that is the hard part. Because imagine you don't understand the math language and your father didn't understand math, your mother didn't understand how to do math, and you had to figure out all the math problems yourself. Then your father goes, oh, I want to learn to become a teacher, and your father starts teaching all these kids math, and they're all good
mhm.
at math when you had to learn math on your own. That sucks. Like that personally sucks because I get you, Pat. Like, remember, I have family that like I'm so used to my family, like everybody calling my dad. Like one person that I was a friend with used to call my dad, and I used to look at them sideways, like, all right, bitch, but he's my dad.
Right,
Relax.
calm down.
Like, but you can't help who your parents are. Like, remember, Dusty was somebody who is still on somebody's Mount Rushmore. He's a legend. He's an icon. He never got the belt.
Mhm.
He never got these things, but he had the expertise. He sees his sons doing it. Yeah, that's great. He could have molded his sons into him, but that's not what he wanted to do.
Right.
Any parent wants their child. I think he was in a place of I can make my son me and make him better than me, but my son has to go along the path that I went. I went through the
Right.
same hard path. And I don't think it was in his ideal to have this role. I think they gave him this role and he was like, okay, what can I do to make sure these kids don't not only make the same mistakes that my sons made that didn't make them successful, but what can I
Mm,
do to make them as successful or what made me so popular? Because listen, people still remember Hard Times promo to the point that it's used in rap music
right.
every day. He's up
Mhm.
there as one of the king of promos with Macho Man and Hulk Hogan and all of them. Like, how can I make them the next Hulk? How can I make them the next Randy, Macho Man, Randy Savage? How can I make them the next me? How can I make this person in Dusty's mind? I think he thought he was helping more than he was molding, but a lot of people are going to credit him for molding. Like you don't know the intentional impact you have on somebody
Right.
until you see that impact. And I even
Right.
remember an episode of Total Divas. Like all the girls are they're on vacation and they're bewildered and heartbroken. Their mentor just passed. The man who's responsible for making their careers has passed away. that's the amount of impact I don't even think Dusty knew he was gonna have on those kids. So for Cody to feel the way he felt was understandable. But look at his father's point of view. I don't think his father knew his lasting impact. I don't think his father knows his lasting impact until he's watching from up there above. To the point where we're watching Great American Bash, and one person who had little interaction with him, Carmelo Hayes, before he left, stopped doing NXT, uses the promo before he walks out. I don't think he knows that.
I
Right.
think for Cody, it hits different because it's not just that you're spending this time with the NXT kid. You're basically building my replacement. Because you got to remember, wrestling is very
Right.
dog eat
Right.
dog. Wrestling is very either you produce or someone's taking
Easily
your
replaced.
spot, and you got to keep your head on a swivel. Even if you're at the fucking main event WrestleMania, that doesn't guarantee your main event next year because that could be someone else's spot.
Yeah.
So for
Right.
Cody, it can also be Dad, it's not just that you're training these guys. I gotta wrestle Seth Rollins, and here comes Seth Rollins, who leapfrogs Cody Rhodes, gets the world title, gets to be double champion at SummerSlam, the same SummerSlam I believe Cody wrestled fucking Steve Amell, if I'm not mistaken. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're
Yeah,
molding my
with
replacement,
Neville.
and it's not just one person. You're doing that with Roman, you're doing that with Moxley, you're doing that with Big E, you're doing that with all these guys that you're training in NXT. Where it's like, bro, it's like
I'm right
not
here.
only is this like you're not helping, but you're almost like my fucking competition, and you're being my own roadblock, my own father in a way. So it's like a
Right.
double hurt of like, damn, because you gotta look at it from that perspective, and then with Cody has a
That
different
makes
relationship
sense.
with Dusty
That makes a
as
lot of sense.
Dustin has a relationship with Dusty. Like I have that between me and my brother because we have a 12-year age difference. So I know my relationship with my father is different from his relationship with my father because
Hmm.
it's generational and stuff like that. So you throw
Yeah.
that in the mix, and it's just like you can kind of see like Cody's got like he's trying to keep it PG, but it's like, man, if I could really hook off and say some shit, I'll say some shit. And it's like
I
I
feel
Mhm.
like
felt that
that
in
in
the
the
documentary.
documentary. I feel like that in the documentary. Like he was like, y'all all calling him Dusty's kids. If his kids not standing here, trying to prove to you guys that they belong here. That
Right.
you could see the pain in his eyes when that first promo dropped, and he said they all will be because Dusty kids, but I'm actually one of his kids. Like that's almost like a cry for help. Like yo, dad, like I'm right here. Like if you want me to come back to Florida now, just say the word. I'll take all this shit off and come back. And then instead, your father's calling you, and he's like, listen, this Stardust crust don't make no sense. This is stupid. And on the other end, you're like, well, dad, you're telling me it's stupid, but you also not telling me to come down to NXT and learn with you and learn what you're teaching these kids. So the frustration is there.
Yeah, it's like you're making sure the NXT kids don't fail, and on the other end, you're telling me basically, yo, if you're not happy, then quit. Like, what kind of
Right.
fucking mismessaged shit is that?
Right.
Right.
He was probably felt like also he was protecting him too. And I love that at one point Dusty was like, and you mentioned like, okay, if the Miz could do this, like Cody, like
Mhm.
what the fuck are you doing?
But
Exactly.
So
also
he
Dusty.
probably needed that chip on his shoulder.
Right.
That's hard for legacies. I think it's harder for them than anyone, to be honest with you, because you're gonna constantly get paired. And this is like a physical sports entertainment is a physical thing, but you also like have to just have a certain thing about you. And if
Right.
you're the son or daughter of like an icon that changed the game and that's just you just weren't built with it, that's hard as
That
fuck.
Right.
And
And
it
more
gotta
of
give
be
them
the
fail unless you're like Samoan. Most of them
Mhm.
no,
fail
you
and
can't
don't
even
make a name for themselves.
say that because look at the reaction they gave to Ava, her first match. Like, mind you, it's her first fucking match. Like, she's been developed. She was in developmental for I think 2 years. Like, and they were already like, "Oh, why would you have the Rock's daughter premiere with a group of uh, like, are y'all under a rock? She has to learn other things other than she can't. If she walked out there and did the rock bottom, y'all would have gave her criticism for doing the rock bottom. Like, oh, why you out there doing your dad's moves? Let her comb her own craft. The way to me, her being in schism right now is perfect because it's the same way that Cody started. Yes, but she also has time to be her own person, but people are so critical of legacies. Like they
Mhm.
expect the Charlotte Flair to woo out the gate. Like she
but
ain't going to woo out the womb. Like stop
but
expecting certain things of the past in the present.
Right.
like to P's point though, you said it best. More of them fail, because
Right.
you think back about like Devon Erickson this generation, right?
Mm,
Hmm.
You don't hear about them too much. You think back to like Dust David Flair,
Oh
you
God.
know.
Hmm.
We even
And
talked about Ted DiBiase. Think about the
Ted
situation with
Ted
Ted DiBiase.
DiBiase. You know, shoot, David San Martino. You go all the way back to WrestleMania 1. And and,
Damn,
Mm.
that's
and the room
harsh.
yeah, the rumors is that's the reason there was so much discord between Bruno and Vince because he didn't like the way David was being used. Y'all remember Meat, aka Sean Stacey?
Oh
Sean, yeah,
yeah.
Stan was the man. Yeah, Sean Stacey.
Damn. See,
There
Sean
was
they
a
all
Stacey.
be
guy named Me.
unforgettable. You have that
Right.
famous last name and you're unforgettable. I mean, you're forgettable.
hmm You know,
There was
they
a guy
tried a little
named
bit to get
Meat.
out.
Wow.
Yeah,
So I
I
guess they
remember
beat
that.
Meat.
You couldn't help yourself.
Justin, if you weren't as funny as you
First the
are,
broken
I
titty,
would have my
then
finger on the kicked out the club.
no, he can't get kicked out. That was genius.
That was
We
good.
all
That was
walked right into that locker. I'm sorry. We bumped right into the
we
door.
did. We did.
I can't.
Yep.
But you bring up an extra point. Like nine times, most of them fail. Like, and some of them are great. I think of TB. She was great. Your attitude fucking sucks, and that's what literally made
Good.
like your
I ain't gonna
attitude
say
in certain
great because we ain't gonna
situations.
act like she wasn't not a safe worker for a long time.
This is
She
true.
got
That's another
good.
thing.
Mm.
She got good, but like
Uh,
it's like nine times out of ten, some of them fail, and it's like it's not
mhm.
enough for you to be a household name no more. You
Right.
got to bring it because the fans,
Right.
especially with the internet community, they are just as critical. They are just as observational. They watch everything you say,
Mhm.
do, eat, breathe. If you don't drink the right milk, they come after you. But it's all in how you handle it and what
Not
Cody
the
had to
right milk.
learn. Yeah, like
That's why I'm happy though that Brian Pillman Jr. is going to WWE because he
That's
right.
gonna
gonna
get
be
that Shawn Michaels sauce and he gonna get that Triple H
Ooh,
sauce.
I'm here for
Right.
it.
And there's people that are going to be there to look out after him. And that's my ending point. Like the difference between you going anywhere else as somebody who's legacy versus WWE is like now they're at the piss of like they learned from Cody. They've learned from how Charlotte Flair had to deal with stuff. They learned from Randy Orton. Like somebody has to look out for these people that come in thinking that everything's gonna be handed to him as simple plan. Because with Randy Orton, it tell you all the time, every documentary he's in, he was a douchebag, privileged little shit who did not understand the business and only was there to wrestle because he knew he had his father's legacy. But then when he started to understand the business and he got with Triple H and he got clean and he started getting acclimated to the business, he's a lot more respected. He's a lot more appreciated. He's a lot more appreciative of the business, and that's what you need more of.
Right.
So I like shout out to Nikki Buski who was in the room with us who asked him that question, how important it was for him to build that relationship, for Cody to build, love you babes, for for him to build that relationship with younger talent, because we need the Codys and the Randys and the Charlottes to tell us like, hey, if you're doing it this way, this is what's going to happen. If you do it this way, this is what could happen. And if you don't do
Hmm.
it this way, you need that. Because if you don't have what they had back in the day, you're going to have people that used to fall off left and right in the
Mhm.
ruthless aggression, the PG era. All these people that fell off did not have that mentorship
That's so
at all.
true. That's so true. And it kind of makes me even more excited for what Cody Rhodes specifically has in store because he hasn't done a lot because he was injured for that long amount of time. He still has the
Mhm.
unfinished story with Roman. He can mix it up with anyone. You know,
Hmm.
there's no rush for him to get the championship. We love the legacy. We love hearing those different perspectives from him about how he felt in developmental and in WWE, having to follow in Dusty's footsteps, having to make that hard decision and leave. And really, and I love, I asked on Twitter what surprised you in the documentary. Like, I knew Cody went back on the indies, but when I think Matt Cardona was talking about, like, no, he didn't just go to like Hog and all of those and CCW. Like, he went to the gyms and the cafeterias and all that shit. Like, he went back on the indies
Mhm.
and got his kind of street cred. He was
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
Disney kid that was just like, okay, I need to like go out and see what the real world is like before I come back
Yeah.
to like, the real shit. And that's exactly what he did. And I would say he's done it the best out of anyone.
Yeah. Evolve was
A
fresh
lot
when
of
he
people
showed up.
compare it to Drew McIntyre, but like I don't think anyone that has done it better than Cody as far as like the coming back and
Mm,
recognizing raising your stock, because he founded a promotion
good point.
that is now second to WWE. That's a flex. And to leave and be like, all right, I'm good, I'm going back. I don't think anyone has done it like Cody.
And he could have
Yeah,
been in the main event picture and chose not to. He chose, yo,
Right.
that's Kenny's spot.
He
Yo,
said, I'm
let's put
good. I'm
Yeah.
Hangman Adam
good.
That guy's
Page
like,
there.
y'all want to do
Yo,
what? Y'all want to give me a belt? Nah.
let's have a
But
match
Adam
where
can
if I
use
lose
it.
this, I'm never challenging for that belt. And it's like,
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
He
And
was like,
Triple
oh,
H
you
had to
want me to
say
have
it.
what?
But I
Hunter.
mean, AEW fans be fickle, man. Is it Uchiwali or is it one mic? Make up your minds.
That part.
Y'all complain about this, but you complain about that. So you just want to either complain all the time or what? Like, what's the solution?
I mean, these are the
Right.
same people. They wanted Punk back so bad. They was crying in the stands, and then apparently Punk punched their favorite person, and then Punk ain't shit, and this, that, and the third. And then there's some people that love them some Young Bucks, but then when they step foot in Chicago, oh, fuck the Young Bucks because they got Punk. And y'all, y'all want too much. Y'all want all the seafood, but you know you only allow one crab leg and a couple pieces of shrimp. Pig lane.
Ooh.
Okay, you can't have the whole bag if you didn't pay for the whole bag. Let's be real about it.
Yeah.
wow, not the
Y'all don't want
seafood.
sports entertainment, but y'all love seeing Adam
That shot was
Cole
good in Detroit,
to
though.
a pelvic throat.
It
Like
was.
stop.
But it also goes to WWE fans too, because y'all wanted Cody to win that title so bad at WrestleMania, and then
Right.
y'all were going with your think pieces and your Twitter fingers, complaining on social media about this shit. Like, do you want him to be hot shot to the champion, which you guys don't
Right.
like because you made that abundantly clear with Roman Reigns a bunch of
They would
times,
have they would have
or
been turned on Cody if he won at Mania.
do
Oh
you
yeah.
want to actually see him go through some adversity and go through some challenges so when he comes to WrestleMania 40, where I think he's going to win that title, they're
Which
building
is
him to
why
where
I'm
he's winning that title
saying
in Philly. Like he would have actually went through some shit to where he's earned the title versus
Mm-hmm.
y'all would have just turned on him the second he got it at this year's WrestleMania because it basically been handed to him. Like
but
I
that's
joke about the broken titty, but it's a legitimate injury. A torn pec is at least 6 months.
yeah, and that's why I say if it's not Roman, and I hate to be the person that's like, okay, well, that's not what Kobe said he was going to do. But the fuck what Cody said he was going to do. We all, if you didn't think that he was capable of taking down Roman, then I guarantee you by Philly, you ain't going to think he's going to be able to take him back then. Now, it's not going to happen. The only way I see this physically happening, and as much as I love having fun with Seth Rollins, is Seth Rollins comes up with I'm gonna tease you, Cody, because you whooped my ass without a title and you whooped my ass with a broken titty. But can you take the one belt that I basically recreated? Like it's a whole different lineage now with the belt that Seth has on him. Can you take this from me? Because I still don't think you take it from me. If he takes it off Seth, it'd be a little bit more of a better reception. I don't see him taking it off of Roman Reigns. I just don't like. I don't. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the.
Not
I don't
anytime
see the
soon, at
whole
least.
right. Not anytime soon. Maybe I don't see the whole redemption song the way I saw with John Cena and The Rock. Maybe I don't see it that way. Maybe that's why. But I just don't see Cody being the one to all of a sudden like take it from Roman. It was cute when David slayed Goliath with him and Brock because, like I said on the last fan club, I don't think that Brock Lesnar is the powerhouse behemoth that he was when he was
Right.
eat, conquer, repeat. I don't think that a Brock Lesnar no more. I think he's still an ass whooping machine, but I don't think he's something that's an enforceable object the way they made him out to be. Now, him and Seth will be more of the longevity because I could see Seth blowing off the I fought you with a broken titty till the wheels fall off. That's just how I see this whole thing going down. I don't see this repeating itself with Roman Reigns. I don't. There's no space for it. Unless it's done
Right.
properly, there's no space for it.
Right. Yeah. So I'm here for him not holding a belt for a while. I think he should have significant feuds. I think he should have big matches, sell these pay-per-views, headline these pay-per-views, put on bangers. Let us keep kind of like falling more and more in love with you. And I'm with you, Brian. Like 41, WrestleMania 41. Imagine that pop after
Mhm.
all of us being on this journey with him, someone who doesn't necessarily like, we all are rooting for Cody and we'll just root for him even more. It kind of be like the Daniel Bryan effect, where it's like, how do y'all not see what we see? We all know he's gonna get the belt eventually, but entertain us, put us
I
on a
know the
ride.
rumors.
Different
I
scene.
know, Yeah, I know the rumors is Minneapolis, man. If I'm Atlanta, I'm bidding right now.
Ooh.
Bid for it. He went in Atlanta. Bigger pop than Goldberg beating
It'd be the
Hogan.
first time they go
Ooh,
back
I
to
love
almost.
that.
When was the last time they were in Atlanta for WrestleMania?
2011, they owe us one because that one was dud.
WrestleMania
Yeah,
27,
27. I
aka
could
the
see
one
it.
where Miz can't remember.
Child, that was the one that was that the one where Snooki
Oh my
That was
wrestled.
god.
Child,
Snooki. That was Miz getting concussed in the main event.
poor John Mazan. Poor John Morrison. I hate that they did that to John Morrison.
You know the
Thank you,
second Marty
Trish. That's
Jannetty?
the only time I would thank Trish because
He's
she had
so
to
much better
participate
than
in the
that.
recovery. Thank you, Trish.
Andre, I hear you about the downside of these long title runs, but here's the thing: like, like the fans made it abundantly clear they hate these short title runs. Y'all complain ad nauseum when Charlotte and Sasha
Mhm.
were flipping that shit
Yeah.
every 30 days. You complain
Word.
all
That
the
joint was
time about the
great.
women's
They
tag team
were
titles
pissed.
not even making it to 60 days as champion before they're on someone else. Like,
Yeah.
people for the most part, they like these long title runs because then, like, you guys have been eloquently putting it in tonight's fan club, when you beat that champion, it means something. Whoever takes that title off of Gunther, that IC title, is going to mean a hell of a lot. The way Gunther has represented and held down the IC title. Just like it meant a lot when KO and Sami Zayn were the ones to dethrone the Usos, because the Usos had that for over a year as your
And then
tag team champions. And it meant so much more that not only did they lose the titles, but look who they lost to and the
mhm.
story that they were telling.
And you want to talk about short storylines, look at how people are annoyed with the women's tag team belts. Like you even if you look on Twitter lately, people were like, "Oh, who's next to take it?" And then they had a picture of Abbott Fire and Dawn. They were like, "You could have kept them belts on them in the first place. Don't why the fuck would you put them in there?" People were pissed that they took them off those girls in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Cadence and Carter, like you have Cadence and Caddy, you could
Katana.
have put it, yeah, Katana, put it on them. You have so many options, but y'all hot potato these titles to the point where nobody's gonna start to care. You merge the tag team titles in NXT for what? For
Mhm.
what exactly?
It's basically, you might as well show
Even
a
look at
picture
the
of the
North
women's tag team
American,
titles and a picture of the Whoopi Goldberg meme with the hand going out. Like, that's basically
like
what it is.
yeah, like you even think about the North American Championship. That's when I started noticing a lot of people like long title reigns because when it was on Carmelo Hayes for that long and then it got on Wes Lee for that long, look at how their stock went up differently. People
Mm-hmm.
like it when somebody has the belt a lot longer. You gave it to Dominic Mysterio. If you got to keep it on Dominic Mysterio another 6 months, do it. Because if
Right.
that's what it takes for y'all to like Dominic
Right.
Mysterio as a heel and have him go back to NXT and do double work to make him one of the best, do it. At this point, just leave it where it's at.
Right.
Like,
And
Bruh.
I
because
think
it's
too,
working.
no, it is working. And it's funny because while we were talking about long title reigns, I was thinking I can see Cody being Taylor fit after Roman gets another reign. I can see them giving him a long ass reign too. I can totally
Mhm.
see that where it's like everyone, because now he's gonna start giving people the rub. Where it's like, okay, yeah, fight me. I'll like not, and he'll be like the John Cena. I keep talking about John Cena because he's my hero, but that like open challenges where when he shakes your hand, it's like you made it, and he has that respect and that love for the business, and then you have everything that Cody Rhodes like brings to the table when it comes to legacy. So I mean, I think we should get ready for that, and that's why I'm like, y'all, Cody Rhodes fans, y'all want him to win a championship. I promise you,
Y'all
y'all
better
gonna
stand
feel
behind your
differently when
man.
he finally starts raking up either them days as champion or the championship reigns. It's
Yep.
gonna be
Word.
one of them that they're gonna hype up once we get all of these stories that he can tell with everyone.
They
Um,
basically did that with Bianca because when Becky took that 26 seconds and Becky held that for 9 months, and then when
mhm.
Bianca took it off of Becky at WrestleMania, A, it meant something, and B, Bianca went on to hold that for over a year. That
Yeah.
could be Cody right there.
I think Cody
Right.
can do it. I think
I think
Cody
Cody could
has,
do it. I think Cody is
yeah.
going to be one of those people that's going to have the longevity that John Cena has, where he is going to be anchor that company.
Oh,
So why
yeah.
rush that gold rush of what he could bring to the company by putting it on him too early? No, we're gonna milk that. I'm Triple H. We're gonna milk that. Paul Heyman. We in the bottom of the third inning. Like we gonna use Cody Rhodes as much as we can
If
because
we
he
in the
hits
bottom of the third
Yeah.
and
inning,
he
this is a
checks
slow ass
all the
baseball
check
game.
marks.
That's what
Right.
he said,
For
bottom of the third.
Right. And Cody
But
Rhodes hits all of that. He, wearing a suit, all of those things. So I cannot wait to see what he does. I do see him winning a couple Royal Rumbles, to be honest with you.
yeah, the
I
plan
can
that should
I
have
see
happened,
all of that. Yeah. I see
the
all of
plan that
that. And I
Yeah.
think his injury helped because it was able to kind of push things along further. Where now we have things to look forward to. And so does Cody Rhodes. Let's think about it. What's the rush? He just got back. He's in his prime. Like, let him like marinate and enjoy like everything that he's doing. And I've been blessed enough to be in a lot of arenas with him in it, and it is a magical feeling.
Yeah, like to see him walk down, that was like to finally go, whoa, like that was just
Flag on the play. Flag on the play. We now
Which
you know
flag
it's time
receiver you
to
bring it up?
you know it's time to get out of the club.
Why?
Which flag receiver you bring it up, Brian? Because I see like 2.
It's a lot.
That's
That's what I was like.
okay,
I
that's
don't
too
know
much.
if that's what he
Y'all don't
means
do
because I
that.
know
Leave
people that
leave my
fuck with
Nigerian brother
Oma.
alone
I
because
mean,
y'all just asking for him. Y'all just asking for him to be another Gunther. Don't do that because y'all not ready for that.
Nobody
Y'all
can be
will
another
complain on
Gunther,
the
but I
y'all
see a
complain
lot
by
of
month
potential in
3.
Omas.
Omos better
Omos
bring
is
back the
about to be the
hardcore
United
title.
States
That's the only way he's gonna be champion for 6 years.
Whoa.
We
That-
gonna talk about hidden potential and diamonds in
should
the
be that's
rough.
a fan
I feel
club
like in a
episode.
future fan club because I think there's a lot of people like the LA Knights or even people who didn't expect Cody Rhodes to hit as much as he did.
Yeah.
I want to get into that because Omos, I was like, really? But then you never know. Like he had that.
He
match
was a
with
tag
Brock,
team champion already,
right?
so there's potential.
So I'm
That's
curious
true.
about that, and I feel like that's our homeboy that was with us in
That's
Detroit.
Noah, yo.
Yeah, I think that's definitely Noah. So
It's
I need to
Noah.
know if. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Yes.
So you're saying that you're not a Homo sapien? Is that what that is?
Yes.
You're
That's
not a Homo
exactly what
sapien?
that
Homophobia.
is. I love it so much. And we do a one of those Omas or something to that nature. You know, Noah's a part of. He just joined our wrestling family, so we'll get his controversial takes
Facts.
and in the future because we love it. We love it. We love it. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight in the hashtag TWG fan club, including Noah.
I feel like there should be a pause at the end of that, but okay.
Yes, because I was very confused when he told me. I was like, "What?" Because Omos is great. I love him, but I was like, I never thought,
Dude, like
that would be him.
stuck
But
with me since I
huh?
left Detroit. That stuck with me since I left Detroit. Like I couldn't get it. I'm like, am I almost sapien? Like I had to to myself because I am a fan of Omos. I'm like, am I one of them? Like
Ooh, we
funny.
found out Noah is converting and
I
reminding
mean,
people
she
they need
did
to be
run when
rooting
she
for
heard the
him.
music. I'm just saying.
I did. No, I was like, wait, he's here, and I kind of like bum
Right?
rush
Because
some
we was like,
guy
"Wait,
standing
is
on the
that
side.
MVP's voice?"
Yeah, I did.
Mhm.
I did bum rush a guy,
Cause that
but
You did. You did what you had to do.
yeah,
That
that's my
sounds like a
Nigerian
horse
brother.
name in like horse racing. And here comes Homo sapien down the ring.
We love you too, Rakarsha, and we love all our VIP, everyone that joins us every Wednesday. I can't believe I missed 3 weeks. I was so excited before we went live because I was just like, yo, it's been a while. And I love these more focused fan clubs where we can really get into the nuances of some of our favorite characters in this wild world of wrestling, including Cody Rhodes. So I want to get into more of these, and I learned a lot tonight. I don't know about you guys, but I was able to see perspectives about him and Cody and his reign and his big pay-per-view matches and just the legacy of people's careers and what wins and losses and big matches and championships really mean when it comes to all of this and how it's so special to each person. So if you guys want to do us to do a fan club on any other wrestlers, or we like to do TV shows, and I always wanted to do one about wrestling books as well.
me too.
We want to talk about all of this. We want to get into everything that makes this industry special, which are the characters and the
And talk
legacies
about
and the
this one.
moments. Ooh,
Which
I
one
haven't
is
read
that?
that one. I haven't
I ain't
read that.
finished reading yet, but I tell you this: us being young rock fans, when you read the first part and you hear those stories, you see what you see on Young Rock, and then you can't help but think of the way those characters look and not how the Rock looked as a child.
Right. And that's exactly how I feel when I watch old stuff. Oh man. But again, I want to thank all of our VIPs. I want to thank my amazing crew who helped me produce this show, and it makes it one of the things I look forward to every Wednesday. And okay, Rakarsha, we'll definitely do that. Our VIP, the Mikes, the Vons, the Manj Sandu, let us know your name. Black Thoughts, Dylan, Mike, everyone that comes through. There's so many VIPs. Let everyone know if they love wrestling. Come on, watch us on Twitch, talk shit, get involved in the conversation. Let us know what you want to talk about. Tomorrow. Oh, you see that Cody Rhodes little thing I just did there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
What you want to talk about?
Exactly. Which I love doing tonight. But tomorrow night,
Mm-hmm.
we spilling the tea because we was turning up in Motor City. So it's our August version of Thirsty Thursday, our Leo Appreciation Month show. So we will be on there sipping and dishing and talking wrestling and everything else that we love to do. Stay close to our platforms because we will be announcing a lot about our 5th anniversary party that'll be happening in November. Can't believe we have existed for half a decade and we've been able to expand our family and everything that we're able to do with you guys and expand that wrestling community of fans from all different backgrounds and so many people that you are able to link up with all over the world just from their love of wrestling. That's why we do all of this. That's why we stream on Fan Club and we want to expand. So hashtag TWG Fan Club and let us know what you want to talk about. Yes.
The bunny comes back next week.
Oh, I
Bunny
love
versus
her.
Bunny versus Britt Baker, baby. Let's go.
What? And she's going
Yeah.
against
Talk
the
about
D
her.
The
and
bunny.
B.
The bunny.
Yes. But where can everybody find you guys?
Can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. We are getting ready to edit and finish up a brand new Justin Rich Talks where I give my review and thoughts on WWE SummerSlam, which is why I was holding back a little bit on the SummerSlam talk because we literally just spent an hour before the show recording that, and that will be dropping tomorrow. You can catch that obviously on YouTube. So we got that coming up. You can catch me here Wednesday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on those Wrestling Girls Twitch channel for TWG Fan Club with myself, Queen PR, Brian H. Ward, CNOB, these three beautiful, illustrious, intelligent co-hosts of mine. You can catch me from time to time on Twitter Spaces Tuesday nights around 6:35 p.m. for Turnbuckle Talk with me and Corey, where we talk all things wrestling. You can catch me from time to time on True Hill Heat Sports and True Hill Heat Wrestling. Both those channels are located on YouTube, where we talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. Your boy has had a busy 2 weeks talking wrestling, Raw watch along, SmackDown watch along, SummerSlam previews on the True Hill Heat channels. So I am all SummerSlammed out after this week. We here, we outside.
You sound like a wrestling content creator.
Hello.
And we a couple of weeks away from my 1 year anniversary on that decision on becoming a content creator.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
So what a year the journey has been. We here, we outside, we active. Cody Rhodes, I know I be giving you these jokes, but everyone gets these jokes. It's all out of love, my guy. Salute.
Cool. Follow me at Brian H. Waters on all social media platforms, including Twitter, TikTok, Threads, and Instagram. But this week, if you haven't done so, check out my article on theringer.com. Just search my name and pull up all my work, but including my top hidden SummerSlam gems you may have missed, which includes Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano. So make sure you check that out. Also, check out this week's episode of Wednesday Worldwide, where we talked about Roman Reigns. Can this run last another 3 years? As him and Paul Heyman said that run will end when they wanted to. And we also graded Triple H's first year. So you can take a guess of what you may have thinking. I've given them. And last, but certainly not least, tonight at 10:30.
Yeah.
We got the one and only Seindole coming to the party. So she's
Wow,
going
look that graphic.
yeah, let's do that. She's gonna do a double shot just like I do every Wednesday night. 10:30
That photo
tonight.
is fucking gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Seindole with the photo coming through. I think this was made by brother Hugh. So I know that pains Queen PR to give him credit.
I love it so
Or
much.
Dwayne, one of them. But shout out to her. Make sure y'all tune in as we're gonna celebrate the one and only Miss Seindole, and she gonna join the party tonight.
I will be
Can't
in
wait for
attendance for the
that.
party. This is my official RSVP.
Yes, it is. This is VIP for
Yay,
the
I will
VIP.
definitely be there. You know how to.
And as you
Mhm.
already know, it is your honorary wrestling girl, Sienna B. You can catch me on my social media platforms. You can catch me on Instagram, reload.relive. You can catch me on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it wants to be called this week at reload via film. You can catch me on YouTube. Just search up Sienna B. If you know my websites, all my LinkedIn's are in my bios, including my new podcast, Row, which features not only past episodes of Thirsty Thursday that I've been on and every updated episode of TWG Fan Club when provided, but all my special guest star appearances, from breaking through glass ceilings to the Hardy Wrestling Podcast to All Elite with Keeks. Every single show that I've been on is on that podcast row. And tonight we will be adding the Wrestling Realm podcast to that. I can't wait to party with my guys. My strobe light is heating up right here in the background. It's going to be one party. Follow me around July. Will drop this Saturday, and then my SummerSlam weekend in Detroit titled "I Walk the Streets of Detroit, Michigan" will be out this Monday. So for all of you who have been following me, that have been following me on social media, you guys already know what what July was like for me. So much happened, including still reeling from watching Sir Wilkins. Shout out to him. I did sponsor his match at Battle Code Pro. So still reeling from that. Still reeling from my first ever out of town SummerSlam experience. So I'm going to be talking about that. Plus, you'll get to see me have fun with the 3 best friends that anybody can have. And I can't wait to have more fun with every single PLE, with the whole entire crew, with the whole entire dream team. Shout outs to Pablo, KRISTA, Chris. They're also part of the dream team. Shout outs to No, who's a part of the dream team as well. I can't wait for you guys to see me have more shenanigans via Instagram, but you have to follow me on my platforms to find out. So get your strobe lights ready. I hope to see everybody at 10:30, and I love seeing your beautiful faces. And I'm out.
And you know where to find me at Queen 3_PR. Follow those wrestling girls.
That was so mid.
We out.
Come on, girl. You gotta
She
go
at
out
where
with
she
attitude.
at, and she be where she be. If
I
she's
never
where everyone
pulled
wants her, she be
out. You guys
confused.
put that on me. Like, everybody knows where to find me. Y'all on those wrestling girls Twitch. You know where to find me.
You better talk your shit, friend. Like you ain't got like platforms.
We didn't expect you to be like Miss KRIST.
Like your team ain't got teams.
But...
Shaba.
Nah, I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow night for Thirsty Thursday.
See you tomorrow.
Streaming everywhere.
Yeah.